Welcome, amigos to theloladass. So today gonna bring you Mind Rite, a game that came out from Sunday to Monday. It was to come Monday because it was on Steam page, but it appeared like boop, like that on 20, and I was like surprised, of course. Like it appeared from nothing. Like I was expecting 20 February 21st to come, and it came like ghostly on February 20. So this game is developed and published by Albino Studio. And so what is Mind Rite? Mind Rite is a visual novel. So you know my expectation for visual novels: good story, great artwork, and in terms of longevity, between 2 to 4 hours and multiple endings. The game has 8 multiple endings, so thumbs up for that. In terms of artwork, on Steam page, seems good. And this like a murder investigation like that. So that's a good thing. I like that murder investigation because you need to investigate what's happening. That's always good because there is always like who killed it, who is the murderer. So a lot of questions. So let's start here. New game. It's finally started. We have been moving towards it for so long, this path full of suffering, this undeserved pain. Finally, all of it will vanish in the dark. All we need is to let a bit of blood flow, just a little bit of blood. So we are this character, Aina. What are you fiddling with? Shouldn't you be helping me? Raimo is sitting and waving something from those precious feathers of his with his eyes burning while I'm working for both of us. So Raimo, this guy is. Hold on. The most crucial moment is coming. I sighed heavily and shoved yet another thick folder onto the shelf with irritation. Raimo and I are investigators. The problem is that we are not trusted with anything other than petty thefts and decluttering the archives. Either everything is really quiet in the town, or people just take us for newbies. It's unclear how cleaning is supposed to help with our skills, but we can't argue with your boss. Yeah, that's not how. I'm done. Good to hear. And that's all you can say? I've seen your handicraft far too often. I think my pool of admiration has run dry. Do you really call not bad, and that will do signs of admiration? Sorry, but too many hours of moving stacks of papers from one place to another doesn't raise my spirits much. Raimo only rolls his eyes. He's not even trying to put my mind at ease by saying that we'll have rapid career growth very soon or something like that. And there were times when he had enough optimism for an army. Where do you think you are going? It's 2 hours until lunch. I'm already hungry. Come on, the papers won't go anywhere. I look at the heaps of folders around me with a tired look. Yeah, you're right. Atta girl. By the way, the dog creaks and Melissa, our boss secretary, peeks in. She used to be a bit decent with me at first, but then turned out to be rather sweet. It was nice to find a female friend in this male kingdom. Okay, so there is more males in this place. Hi guys. Is anything wrong? Berkhard asked me to call you through into his office, right now. There goes my lunch. I guess he found another dusty corner for us to make sparkly clean. Melissa adjusts her glass as she smiles at me softly. She doesn't spare Raimo a glance. He has some kind of serious business for you. Raimo and I exchange glances, surprised with this turn of events. Melissa can't stop herself from switching to a conspiratory tone. It was dark like a thundercloud. I think your time has come. And what's that supposed to mean? It doesn't really say anything. He's always in a thunderous mood. Is it just me or I'm being ignored here? It's not just you, investigator Raimo. Hey, I might get upset. And he really sulks like a baby. She looks very flustered, but then noticing a mischievous twinkle in his eyes, jerks her chin up in indignation. I think you'll get over it. And anyway, there is no place for heart attack or hatches at work, okay? Heart hatch was. And please hurry up. You know that Berkhard isn't keen on waiting. And without giving a Flabbergasted, Raymond on a second glance, she turns around proudly and walks out of our shoebox of a room. I don't think she likes me very much. I give his shoulder a sympathetic squeeze. It's okay, my dear. Sooner or later your level of understanding of women will rise above zero. I see that the double attack on poor me cheered you up. You know that we are just joking. Well, at least I hope so. Raymond barged into the office without knocking, as if he owns it, but our boss just silently measures him with an irritated look. Burkhardt has been occupying the position of a head of investigation department long before Raymond and I came to work here. Even though he was quite young for this job, nobody had any doubts about his qualifications, not to mention the fact that very few people were willing to work in the town this far in the northern part of the country to begin with. So Burkhardt ended up being quite a find. Of all the candidates, he was considered the most capable and responsible. Maybe even too responsible. I'm sure that he looks down on us from the height of his experience as if we were stupid rookies. But on the other hand, we haven't really had a chance to show what we are capable of yet. Hey boss, is there a new case? So Burkhardt is this guy? There is. Something other than chasing petty thieves. Raymond's eyes twinkle and I barely managed to suppress a smile. Maybe Melissa was right and we are really about to get something worthwhile. I hope you'll take it as serious as possible. The body of a certain Mr. Aclea Mercer was found early this morning. The preliminary examination performed by the group of on duty showed only stab wounds and the complete absence of magical traces. The wounds matched those on the body of Miss Burnett, who was killed last week. The case was handed over to us to clarify all the circumstances. You need to sort it all out, prevent other potential killings from happening, and of course find the culprits. Raymond and I exchanged surprised glances. That's some career leap, from thieves to murders. Are you sure, boss? I wouldn't have called you otherwise. Or you'd rather keep polishing shelves in the archives? Sir, no, sir. Burkhardt moves an almost empty folder towards us. I open it and grow disappointed. There is hardly any information. It looks like the first death was barely investigated. How come? There weren't enough clues, and there are no magical traces. As a result, the case was considered a domestic dispute, and the murder remained unpunished. So, a domestic dispute. Even in this case, they should have looked for the criminal actively. But it wasn't the way it happened. Burkhardt didn't clarify, but it was clear enough to me just the same. There was a part of the first spirit's blood in the victim. A small part, but it was enough to show in her looks and personality. This negligence is a result of a blatant indifference and neglect the half-bloods have to deal with far too often. Half-bloods. Interesting. What can I say? I've been discriminated against because of my origins as well. Elves think that I'm too short and look too much like a human, while humans think that I look too much like an elf. Okay. Half-blood, that is human with elf. Okay. But after joining the department, I realized that there are worse things. For example, no one gives a damn about your death, while you are not even the one to blame for the species you have been born as. Why was the new victim deemed to be connected with the first one? Because of the similar wounds. And why did the case suddenly go to us? Because you are unoccupied couple of investigators, and incidents of this sort are in your line of duty. I presumed that I don't have to remind you of that. I thought that our only duty revolves around putting folders from one cabinet to another and blowing the dust off the shelves. As I said, I can provide you with this sort of work again, if you wish. I elbow Raymond in the side quickly to stop him from retorting and give him a look saying, don't you even dare to ruin this. And then I turned to face Burkhardt again and smiled happily. No, we don't want any more work in the archives. He's joking. We promise we won't disappoint you. I nudged Raymond with my shoulder slightly. Yeah, I promise. Drop by to Leo's before you go. The report must be brought personally to me tomorrow. If anything urgent comes up, contact me. If I'm not in the office, talk to Melissa. You may go. Yes, boss. I tugged my part after me happy with the fact that he was smart enough not to make the situation even worse. I'm outraged. We got a case to work on. Is it bad? It is. See for yourself. The previous crime was barely investigated. The second victim just forced them to show some kind of activity. And must I explain why this follow is so thin? I can see it myself. Half-bloods. That's a serious case. Much more serious than I assumed. And it's given to some inexperienced rookies. Yes, it might not be the most logical choice. So what? It's a good chance for us. If we manage to find the murderer, it will be a good statement about our skills. Rainbow sighs and gives me a resigned nod. Let's do some work. Leo must have finished examining the body by now. The cat grimaces when I mention Leo. Even the fur on his tail stands on end, I think. My partner acts ineffably. Rainbow just can't stand him, does his best to avoid his company, and if they end up meeting after all, he can't hide his irritation. You go to him then, I'll wait for you, maybe even outside. So you are ready to freeze your tail off not to see Leo? Next to him one can freeze off both tails and ears, heart and soul. You are overreacting, I get along with him just fine. Don't deceive yourself, you are a cute young woman, which means that you are just his type. I'm cute, huh? You see you outside. He dashed away as if blown with the wind. Compliments from Raymond are very rare, and in most cases they are just as sudden and out of place. And in addition to that, he never admits the fact that he made a compliment. The pathologist domain has always been cool and filled with flowery scents, all thanks to the odorants blocking the smell seeping through the magical blockers. It smells like summer here right now. It's very pleasant but quite unusual for a place this gloomy and cold. I shiver when I see a couple of lab workers in their plain medical robes. I guess they have gotten used to the cold and stopped noticing it. How can you possibly get used to it too? So this is Leo, okay. My, look outside to honor us with her presence. I've been so bored in the company of my silent and not too lively friends. Leo's cheerfulness doesn't mesh with his profession at all, and many people think that he's weird due to his fanatical attitude towards his work. It's not like we have had any regular conversations, but I have had to hand documents over to him from time to time, especially since Raymond always disappears out of sight as soon as finds out that someone needs to go down to Death's domain, as he calls this place. Leo opens his arms in greeting, blocking the doorway, so I have to push him to the side indefinite to enter the room. You are breaking my heart. Also, Leo never misses an opportunity for some casual flirting. I need a written state about Mr. Aclea Mercer. Straight to business, huh? And here I was, thinking that you missed me. You have finished the examination, right? Leo nods affirmatively, his facial expression unchanging. Don't get me wrong, I believe in your and Kitty Cat's ability, but it still surprised me that Burkhardt decided to trust this case to you too. Well, we must have done some proper work after all. Can't argue about that. I guess you are aware of the fact that the victims are half-bloods. I am. May I look at the victim? Of course. The pathologist nods at the half-covered body. Don't be scared, he doesn't bite anymore. I don't get to examine bodies often. The last time was during my studies at the academy, a couple of years ago. The city I lived in was big, so yes, there were many interesting cases. I bent down to take a closer look. Pointed ears poking from under snow white hair, delicate facial features, and slight shimmering skin. The deceased definitely was a half-blood. If not for the dark wounds on his arm and neck, I would have thought he was merely sleeping. How old is he? 16 at most, son of a local. His father found him near the house at dawn. It's scary to think what he was feeling at that moment. I guess the boy was walking back home from the studio late and ran into the murder. Lyle shrugs and spreads his hands. I can't tell the exact time, of course, but the body looked stiff as if it had been lying there all night long. Of course, the freeze like that. From the studio. You mean the artist studio where the boy was working? Exactly. Do you think the murder was waiting for him near his house? Yes, judging by the amount of blood and considering the type of wounds, it was a long death. I think the attack cut his throat first and then inflicted the rest of the wounds. I don't even know what kind of maniac we have here and why he does all of it. I flinch, imagining a Clay choking on his own blood as he is lying on the cold snow, unable to call for help. What about the magical trace? Nothing there? Absolutely nothing, which is weird. This guy wasn't really a woman after all. The pathologist shrugs, covers the body and gives me all of the paperwork. Was Miss Bennet examined by you as well? Yes, but there was nothing interesting there except for the similar wounds. What do you think about the domestic dispute version? It makes no sense. The murder let the victim blood out instead of pummeling them to death, as it usually happens in this case. That isn't how I noted it, but you know how it works. I nod gloomily. Leo suddenly looks somewhere behind my shoulder and his mouth split into a malicious grin. Kitty Cat is here. Aina, are you ready? Whoa, it changed the clothes, okay. I turn towards Raven. He is standing near the door and shifting from foot to foot, clearly unwilling to come any closer. I didn't expect him to go to the basement after all. Yes, sure, Leo. Thank you. Yes, Leo, thank you for doing your job. Now it's time for us to do ours. Chaim hastily interrupts the conversation, pushing me towards the exit and throwing an unfriendly glance at the pathologist. Leo has always been paying back the same way whenever these two met though. I'm always happy to help, especially you, Aina. Drop by more often. Hope your tailored friend won't make a mess. I elbow him aside, not letting him sputter something disgraceful. A bit more and it will turn into a habit. Thank you again. We gotta go. Bye. Let's go. I'm not sure I want to stay close to that guy for another second. You have to work with that guy for a very long time. Honestly, it's surprising that you still haven't got used to him. I'm not obligated to get used to him. Are you going to wage war against him all your life? Remo says nothing, folding his arms on his chest stubbornly. Give me strength. I grow involuntarily as I imagine how many exchanges similar to what I heard today I'll have to witness. I've always meant to ask, why do you dislike him so much? He reeks of death. Well, yeah, I mean, he works with corpses. It's not only because of that. Nobody senses it as sharply as I do. Unlike me, half-blood, unable to sense even her own magic, Remo is a purebred cat belonging to a race strongly connected to the world of spirits. Okay, he's a purebred cat. So, it's like we, Aina, are half-bloods. Remo, like me, half-blood, Remo is a purebred cat. So he can, like he say that he can smell like he reeks of death. Okay. Interesting. There are few of them in this town and even fewer among the investigators. They leave their clans with great reluctance. Okay, is that all? He openly flirts with you as well. Chaim blurts it out so suddenly that it makes him turn away awkwardly. I mean, that is unprofessional. I see. He shows no respect to the deceased. He's just spreading his pheromones around at will. And he will ask you out on a date to the cemetery. I just know it. I don't think I'll go on a date with him. And you will be right to do so. I can imagine his picture among criminal news titled "He murdered dozen women and dressed them in wedding gowns" almost too easily. Where do you even get that from? Have you read about it in some cheesy detective story? We have stuff to do. Driving his level of embarrassment to the extreme, Raven drops the topic and heads to the exit of the apartment while I ponder on his sudden declaration. Yeah, these two won't ever get along for sure. And the joking bet on I was the only one who made a bet on both of them being reasonable. Interesting. We have to drive a few distance away from the apartment, so it takes several minutes before we finally get to the house we need. Mr. Mercer, we are officers from the investigation and order department. Could you spare us some of your time? What do you want? Alcohol addiction is clearly showing on Clark Mercer's looks, but his eyes are surprisingly clear even if sad. I guess his son's death made him sober up. It's somewhat cruel to interrogate him right now, but this is standard procedure. Whoa, we changed it to wow, okay. Let me only save. Okay. We are sorry about your son's death, but we must talk to you. Come in. Clark Burster leads us to the room that's spacious enough for three of us, unlike the narrow hallways and a tiny entrance hall of his house. What else do you need? I told everything already. We know that, but we must interrogate you personally. Okay, ask your questions. So, what should I ask about? About the victim enemies, about the victim friends, about himself, something unusual, no questions. Now, I don't know if in here he can change the ending, because there is certain choice that will change the ending, because there is 8 endings. I don't know what kind of choice can change the ending, so let's say about the victim's friends. What about his friends? Could he have joined a bad crowd? Mr. Mercer shrugs. I doubt it. He had a few acquaintances, most of them people from work. Okay. Enemies. Could you please tell us if your son had enemies? What kind of enemies can a boy have? He was a quiet type, and then as soon as he became an understudy, he spent all of his time in the studio. Do you have any idea why he was outside at night? I guess he was on his way back home. I didn't see him here. Okay, so he was a quiet type, but then he was working on that studio, and someone was waiting for him to kill. Interesting. About himself. Mr. Mercer, where were you last night? I prepared myself for an outrage from his side, and I'm right. The father of the victim gets angry at us. What are you hinting at? He little spits these words out. As expected, some people have worse reactions, or so they say. Even so, I'm thrown off balance. We are not accusing you of anything. Calm down. I glance at Raymond with gratitude. It's a standard question, Mr. Mercer, and I have to ask it. He mumbles something under his breath, but he replies in the end. I drank all night. Can anyone confirm it? The old pub. Ask anyone. All of them know me there. Okay. Something unusual. Did you notice anything unusual? I did my best to speak softly, soothingly. I felt really sorry for this man. It could be a change in your son's behavior or some weird event. He was working on a new project. Something odd. He wouldn't shut up about it. He was shouting on and on. Mercer's face lights up for a moment only to grow dim again. But I wasn't listening to it closely. What race did he belong to? What race did he belong to? Or more precisely, his mother? It's not the most tactical question, so I twitch uncomfortably. But we must ask about everything to see the full picture. His grandfather was an elf from the Valley of the Lakes. Got rowdy with some random girl during some feast and knocked her up. The man tries to hide the anger he feels at this moment, but fails. Okay, so we don't have enough. This was to ask about his race, right? To know if it's purebred, half-blood, if he knew. Okay, no question left. Is that it, Mr. and Miss Officers from the department? Yes, we got no other question for you for now. Thank you for your help. May we walk around the house and take a look at your son's things? Mr. Mercer waves his hand and turns away from us to face the window. Do whatever you want. We leave the man alone and start examining the rooms. It's an ordinary living space, relatively plain and unassuming, with no suspicious details inside. There are many different papers, drafts and diagrams in a classroom. Yes, this boy was really fascinated with art. I find something curious among his work. A few detailed sketches forming a polyptych with the image of 4 fourths of nature and some other elements. This series of sketches stand out from the other one, mostly floral ornaments made in calm shades and hues. That's his new project I told you about. I jolted suddenly. He was almost obsessed with it. I never seen him like this before. Although I doubt anyone would call me the most attentive father. It looks like he's being torn apart by strong emotions, the pain of loss and the hatred towards himself. I can almost feel his anguish on my skin. Mr. Merce, I promise you, we'll do everything within our power. You are not obligated to comfort me. I know that sometimes the trail can grow cold, especially in cases like this. I twirled the polyp in my hands, as if trying to find answers from it. Take it, because if he was working on this, if it was his new project, and he was talking to everyone about that, it has to be because of this, so take. May I keep it? He looks at the sketch with a dumbfounded expression, as if he asking why I would even want it. For the investigation, I want to attach it to the case. Yes, yeah, take it. I will burn it otherwise, anyway. I nod and put the sketch into the case folder. So there is a choice that you can take that or not. You can leave it, okay? That was one of the most useless interrogation search in my career. You mean the first one? That makes even worse. Did you sense anything there? Nothing special. It's just a gloomy, musty house full of pain and disappointment. How poetic. Raymond shakes himself, looking at the thick falling snow with a frown. I tried to voice my thoughts to him. He may be a random victim. There is no connection between him and Miss Burnett so far. I raise my collar and go under the awning of the nearest building to hide from the bad weather. My partner follows me at once. Yeah, except for the fact that these murders could be racially motivated. I don't like this thought at all, but the family history of the victims are really been our only clue so far. We can just track every half-blood in town, and I really don't want to wait for another victim to appear. If there is another victim, we don't know the intention of the murders after all. Remus's ears twitch anxiously as he peers into the snowfall, examining a young boy's body and interviewing his grieving father. It was morally exhausting. The only things I did before was interrogating inattentive old ladies, breaking up petty quarrels, and patrolling the streets during my internship. This abrupt switch to a murder case threw me off balance. Pulling myself together, I straightened up and cast bad thoughts aside. Maybe you're right, but it doesn't mean that we can't be idle. We must find something out. My partner nods affirmatively. And we must have lunch too. My jaw drops after this sudden exclamation of his. How can you even think about food at a time like this? Well, without food, I won't be able to think at all. As if in reply to his statement, I can feel my stomach letting out a pitiful, hungry rumble for the first time today. Sure, you're right, but before we can eat, we have to deal with the owner of the studio, Mr. Mason. Raymond whimpers sadly, but I'm adamant. Okay, so we go to the studio. Alice, the conversation with the artist didn't help us at all. The man only sniffled and insisted that he saw nothing, and other workers of the studio confirmed his alibi. We leave him dragging our feet. Yeah. We won't solve this case if it keeps going that way. Okay, so didn't help me nothing on the studio. Well, let's go. When? Don't tell me you decide to run around the town all day long and make me starve. It's very cruel to my developing organism, you know? Your organism has already developed a long time ago. But I move a lot and it consumes a lot of energy. Well then, climb the roofs less. Are you aware that it's dangerous? Especially in winter. That's how I find new feathers. Wait, what was that? Raymond looks into my eyes mockingly. Is Einar worried about me? What makes you think so? Oh, it's so cute. Now she's trying to back out of it. Calm your imagination. I turn away from my partner and change the topic hastily. Anyway, aren't you the one who always rushes to have his lunch and whines about food? Instead of answering, Raymond folds his arm on his chest and looks at me expectantly. I know this game. He's waiting for a reaction from me and he won't calm down until he gets it. Say nothing in return, give up. Say nothing in return or give up. Say nothing in return. Two can play this game though. I fold my arms the same way and stare at Raymond. He stays out for a few seconds up until the point when he makes a sulky face. It's not fun at all. Haha, let's go already. After letting out the disappointed sight, Raymond turns around and we go to the pub we frequent. I mean, I get it, you say you are hungry, but I look skeptical at the order that was served to my partner. It looks like it includes not only lunch, but maybe breakfast and dinner as well. Won't you burst? Haim only scoffs. It's called a healthy appetite. I think you have mispronounced the word gluttony. Whatever you say, you won't really. Unperturbed, Haim starts eating a chicken leg. The pub we usually have lunch in is located not far from the department, so there is always a chance to meet some of our colleagues here. I turn my attention back to my salad when I suddenly hear a familiar voice. Oh my, and here I thought that we wouldn't meet at all today. I would never see Unch. I believe you, Mr. Haim, but I wish you'll swallow your food before talking. Or didn't stuff your mouth so much to begin with. I can't, if too tufty. Melissa sits down next to us. We always have lunch together, so our presence at the tables makes the meal more cozy. You two ran away so fast that I had no time to ask you why Burkhardt called for you. Can it be that he entrusted you with those last murders? Haim wants to open his mouth to talk again, but I do it faster. Exactly. But I have no confidence in this investigation. I'm afraid it might end up among the folders we pushed to the back of the shelf. It's very sparse indeed. You have already taken a peek into the papers? Well, Melissa is so nervous that she blushes. Every piece of paperwork ends up at her desk at some point, so she's able to take a close look at them, even though it's not a part of her duties. Don't worry, I'm not Burkhardt after all. Melissa smiles and raises her hands in an appeasing gesture. I admit I was led astray by my curiosity. This case, I always feel very uneasy when half-bloods are killed. Melissa looks like a purebred cat, but it's just the result of some good genetic luck. Anyone from the cat clan would identify her as a half-blood immediately. Okay, so she's not a purebred, she's half-blood as us. Okay, but they think it is because of good genetic. Interesting. Haim, who has been silent all this time, speaks up again. Melissa, what kind of grass is that on your plate? She looks at his teasing face strictly. It's called salads. Salads. He says it with a deliberate dislike. Don't you want to sink your teeth into this juicy chicken leg instead of mimicking elvish eating habits? He points his finger at my plate. Hey! No, I don't. And why do you have to raise this topic all the time? I'm just trying to make you join the dark side and finally turn into a meat eater. Trust me, you like it. Going against nature means throwing a wrench into your works. It will do you no good. Haim eggs Malik. And that is what happened today. The fact that we just happen to belong to the same carnivorous species shouldn't be a reason for you constant moralizing. Haim moves a bit close to her and makes a theatrically pitiful face. That's what you think? And I thought that is not just happenstance, but fate that brought us close on purpose. What nonsense is this? Why would it bring us together? For me to put you onto the right path, of course. It's so weird to watch as Melissa blushes while Raymond sits there, completely oblivious to her reactions. Why is everyone trying to deny their love to me? Melissa blushed to the tips of her ears, which I didn't even think was possible. You are too self-confident, because don't forget, they both are cats. She is half-blood but with genetic of a cat, and he is a purebred of a cat. Our character that we are is an elf. Don't forget about that. Because if you see, we don't have ears like them. So we are half-blood, but like human with elf, that it is. He breaks every record today. Female company clearly affects you. Has puberty finally hit you? And you just keep flexing your wit today. Well, somebody should protect Melissa from your mind-blowing charms. I hate when you shoot him up. Melissa giggles while Raymond turns away with an offended look and keeps chewing the chicken. We had to wander around the town almost all day long, talking to people and inspecting the place where Ackley and Burnett were found. But nobody saw anything, unless they heard a noise or a scream. Someone even tells us about the personal lives of all their neighbors in detail. Of course, it didn't help the case. If I had to summarize everything we found out today, there's pretty much nothing. That Molly is safe, because we pass a lot of talking. Only safe on two always is better. Nothing except for the fact that most of Burnett's acquaintances and neighbors want to strangle her with their bare hands, while Aclea, on the contrary, wasn't really acquainted with many people. We haven't found any acquaintance share between the two of them. Except missing thieves, drunk fights, and loads of paperwork. Maybe that job wasn't so bad after all. Don't be stupid, we just had no luck with the first case. I hope Burkhardt doesn't expect much from us. There's not much to begin with, and we can't really do anything about it. Finally, it's your... I wiped the dust off the evidence board and pinned the photos of the victims to it. I'm somewhat put off by the excitement I'm feeling, as if I was looking forward to some murder happening, so I could use this board like a real investigator. Too bad there's almost nothing you can pin here. Except for this, I guess. I fished the pulp out of the folder and pinned it next to the Aclea's photo. It said that he won't able to finish it. Well, at least it will hang like this in here. I know it's not the best place. What's that thing? Remo unceremoniously pokes his finger into the sketch and I push his hands aside at once. Hey, careful with that. How is it supposed to help in our investigation? I don't know. I just decided to take it with us. Is it bothering you? Are you going to pin every random thing to the boards? Maybe it's my investigating sense speaking. I wave at Ray dismissively and put less significant papers into the folder. My partner flops onto his chair with a bored expression. Although running across the town wore us out, but the fact that it was practically useless makes it even more tedious. I wish I could be on my bed right now. And you should rest as well, you know. I nod without really listening to him as I make marks on the map. I said rest, not working until morning. Don't worry, I'll just get a couple of little details sorted and go home. And what do you mean by couple of little details? I don't need a babysitter. Go already. Okay. Kane turns back to me for the last time before walking out. If you keep staying in here at night, you'll turn into someone like that Hermit Leo, or into someone like our boss. I'm sure both of them are still here. I thought no one else was in the building. The whole of the basement barely appears in sunlight, and our boss drinks alone after work in his office. How do we even know that? My hearing, eyesight, and desire to eavesdrop on other people's conversation are superb. There you go. Okay, see you. Haim walks out. I didn't know that Berka and Leo stay here till late. And even more so, I never been interested in things the other employees do after work. Soon enough, I want to take a walk. Go outside or walk through the corridors. Let's try, because it's our first time that we are doing the first run, right? Let's go walk through corridors. It's so unusual to see this building so empty and quiet. There's something pleasing about it now. After walking down some dark corridors, I noticed a strip of light coming out of Burkhardt's office. He's really here. Should I come in? I know he's my boss, but it's past working hours. Remo said that he drinks, right? So can he be drunk? Or he's not exaggerating drink, like only relaxing after work? Can he be? Let's come in. I hope you don't mind me breaking his solitude. Plucking up my courage, I knock on the door lightly and enter the office. Upon seeing me, Burkhardt raises his eyebrows in surprise but quickly regains his usual facial expression. And yes, he is in fact drinking, like Remo said. Aina, what are you doing here? I thought you went home with Remo a long time ago. I decided to work a bit more. Burkhardt waves his hands vaguely. Better go home and have some rest. There's no point in sitting and looking at the case when you are brain dead. And judging by your tired look, you won't figure out much. I shift my eyes to the bottle of expensive wine and it doesn't stay unnoticed by Burkhardt. Are you drinking at work? I'm not dirty right now, so I can do whatever I want. Can't you go drink in a bar? I don't like being around people. So you are a hermit. Is that how you are talking to your boss? But you are not on duty right now. There you go. Huh. Well then, drink with me. I don't even get to reply when he takes out the second glass and fills it with wine. Noticing my distrustful look, he snorts. Don't worry, it's just one glass, plus it's not the watered down swill from the pub. Oh, I should have asked if you even drink to begin with. Sorry, my brain isn't working now. It's okay, I can drink a bit. I lift the glass to my lips and sniff. Indeed, it doesn't smell like cheap alcohol at all, and it turns out to have a very pleasant flavor to boot. There's a rumor going around the park that you drown yourself in alcohol every evening. He looks a bit surprised by my bluntness and chuckles. Not every evening. I am not a drunkard, even if that's what you are hinting at. All alcoholics say so. Berkar smirks and takes a sip from his glass. I like sitting here alone, thinking in silence. Well, I'm alone if you don't count Leo, but I can't see or hear him from here. So, what do you think of? He meets my curious gaze and sighs. Things from the past, mostly unpleasant ones. And you have never wanted to share these past events with anyone? I heard it helps to talk it out with others. Becker gives the liquor splashing in the glass a ponderous look. Not yet. To do that, I will have to find the person I will want to share stuff with first. Get back to whatever you were working on, or even better, go home, before the two of us turn into drinking companions. Oh well, if that's what you lead the conversation to. I stand up and sigh dejectedly. What a pity. It will be interesting to start a descent into addiction with that kind of drink. Becker moves the bottle out of my sight and waves his hands, urging me towards the door. I decide that I've taunted my boss enough for today and leave the office with a slight smile. I try to work, but the exhaustion plays its part, so nothing really clicks together. I guess I really should go home, just like Raymond. I should try to be sensible. There is no way I will be able to help anyone if I continue work until I fall down from fatigue. I start gathering my things when the door opens and Melissa suddenly appears on the threshold. Oh, it's you! I thought that someone forgot to turn the lights off. Melissa looks upset. Did anything happen? I didn't expect to see you here at this hour. Nothing happened really. But something's wrong, and don't tell me that you are here because you want to do some work. I make Melissa sit on a chair and walk towards the locked cabinet with beverage. Of course, we are not allowed to open this cabinet during working hours, but the working day is over after all. It's my house guardian spirit, the salamander. It burned me. Guardian spirit? What? So, do they have guardian spirits, is it? Melissa sniffles sadly, and I quickly pour her some weak infusion that can barely be called an alcoholic drink. Melissa likes it though, and it tastes quite sweet. Is the burn serious? No big deal. Melissa rubs her hand by reflex. I didn't think that guardian spirits could harm their masters. Okay, so it seems there is, so in here, maybe they will explain what it is guardian spirits, but Melissa guardian spirit is a salamander that burns. Okay. I didn't even touch it. I was minding my own business over a drowning and I'm growing scared of it. It isn't the first time it has acted that way. Melissa sighs and takes a sip of the infusion. I didn't really pay much attention to it at first, but today the salamander was especially aggressive. I know how much she loves that magical lizard. Melissa was so excited when the salamander appeared at her place that it managed to cinch the carpet, taking advantage of its new owner confusion. Maybe you are not the problem? Maybe something is troubling it at home? I don't know. I bite my lip in contemplation, not knowing how to help my friend. I could drop by at your place tomorrow, if you want. Maybe together we'll be able to understand what's going on. I don't want to bother you with my problems. You are not bothering me. We are friends. Maybe guardian spirits is like animals that you can have like a cat, but they are called in the game guardian spirits. Maybe it's that. Okay, maybe. Melissa looks very embarrassed and smiles weakly. Thank you. Maybe it's that they're like domestic animals, right? Can be. She calms down a bit in the end and lets me help her gather her things before going outside. We also hide the alcohol that's kind of in the department, but kind of isn't. I lock the door to my and Raymond's office and accompany Melissa part of the way. It turns out that she had small burn marks on her hands for a few days, and I didn't even notice. I finally get to my humble abode and overcome with exhaustion. Flop onto bed without taking my clothes off. This tiny apartment, located quite far away from the department, was the best thing I could afford on my limited budget. At first I was scared that I won't be able to rent anything in this town, but then I meet the sweet woman who owns this place. She's fine with me as long as I can pay the rent. Lying in total darkness, I have no desire to stand up or move at all. I was dreaming of a real job, and now I almost feel as if someone played a cruel joke on me. I should have gone to law school like my mom told me to. I will live in a big city now with a good salary to boot. I thought I would be fighting for justice like the detectives from the books I've read when I was little instead of waging war against in the cluttered archives of the department. And even when I got a proper case to investigate, my joy didn't last long. It feels like my childhood dreams are falling apart right in front of me. Maybe I just had really high expectations? After almost passing out in my work clothes, I pull myself together, get up, and prepare for sleep. I wake up earlier than usual, gather my things, and set out to my friend's place as I promised yesterday. Guardian spirits usually sense their own inner state, so Melissa might be the source of the problem. Okay? What's wrong with her though? And why couldn't she tell me about it sooner? That sort of spirit behavior must be dealt with at once. I come to Melissa's building and walk up to her apartment. As I reach the landing, I notice that the door is ajar. I immediately have a bad feeling about it. Melissa will hardly leave the door open for me. Doing my best not to make noise, I walk up a few more steps and see a dark spot that looks like blood. Melissa! I dash towards the door and swing it wide. A terrible sight opens in front of me. Oh, her body is lying in a puddle of blood. Wounds on her arms and neck are standing out on her pale skin. Her pink hair and fluff on her ears, slackened after death, are fluttering in the drafts. Her eyes are open wide in terror, and her lips froze in a mute question. I back away from the door and into the wall behind me, only to slide down to the floor helplessly. Everything swims in front of my eyes. Oh, she died. Melissa died. It's like, is there a way to save her, or it needs to happen? I don't know if there is a way to help Melissa not to die. Because I think she needs to die, right? I think it's like you can't save her. Because there is no way, in going to her house to be with her. There is no way, so I think she needs to die. It's a shame. I'm sitting in the darkest corner of the pub, nursing a mug of tea and understanding nothing. How? We parted ways so close to her building, a couple of streets away, and almost right after that someone attacked her when she just got home. It couldn't have happened late at night or early in the morning because she was cold as ice when I found her. Cold and stiff. The recollection of the gruesome sight makes me shake, and I put the mug on the table before I spill its contents over myself. There you are. I called the department as soon as I found Melissa. I went away when the group on duty got there. I just couldn't stay there any longer. Raymond sits on a chair across from me. Are you okay? I mean, I know that nothing is okay right now, but still, that's the kind of question you ask in these situations, right? The pain of loss is clear on his face, but both of us were Melissa's friends. Couple of streets. It's not your fault. The murder is the only one to blame, and you know it. It wasn't supposed to happen. What lunatic would dare to murder a person employed by the department? I can't just sit here anymore, so I jump out of my seat and almost hit Raymond, who managed to duck away. Aina, we must do something, right now. We won't be doing anything while you are in this state. You need to calm down, and I turned sharply to face him. How can I calm down? Raymond stands in front of me and grabs me tight by the shoulders. The owner of the pub and the morning customers glance at us with suspicion, but I don't care. She was my friend as well. Do you think that you being hysterical will fix anything? I sniffle. Raymond's words and his firm grasp bring me to my sense a little. Melissa, how can it be? She was my first friend in this town, and now she's gone. Why must it be her? My partner sighs heavily and makes me sit back down before he releases his grip. We just sit in silence for a bit while I'm trying to calm down. Raymond speaks first. What were you doing near her house? She had some kind of problem with her salamander. I want to help. I should have gone to her place at once last night. And then the murder would have killed you both. It wouldn't have happened. I'm an investigator. You are not almighty though. I would have done something. I could have saved her. We won't know it now, and it's time for you to stop blaming yourself. We don't know whom the murderer is hunting down, so we couldn't have foreseen anything. I rub my face, feeling hollow. We must go back to the department, don't we? It's been bad enough that the case looks hopeless, and now this maniac killed my friend as well. It's as if someone decided to torture me. I guess I'm ready. What do we have here? An elf girl and a cat? Huh, but wait, you're a bit short for an elf. You're half-blood, huh? You're cute though. Let's drink, huh? Why are you so sad? Some guy slightly swaying from the alcohol starts pestering us. Being drunk in the morning, so mature, he's clearly a very busy man. We probably attracted his attention when we were nosy. Raymond measures the strange with an angry glare, and it doesn't look good to me. I sense a fight brewing. Don't pay him any attention. Let's go. Hey, can't you hear me? I pull myself together and answer him. We are from the department. Leave us be if you don't want any trouble. My voice is still shaking, but I hope that I sound persuasive enough. The guy doesn't seem to think so and grabs me by the arm. What's the problem? I can't talk to a cutie like you, huh? Let me go. I don't have the strength to pull away, but Raymond stands between us and pushes the drunk back. The guy stays upright, which is surprising in his condition. Hehe, you look funny with your ears, kitty cat. Not scary at all. Want to check it? If Raymond still controlled himself before, now he's completely outraged. I don't recognize my partner at all. He looks like a different person. His whole body is tense, as if he is about to pounce on the offender and tear him apart. The cats become incredibly strong in critical situations, and when I look at Raymond, it's obvious to me that he will go on rampage if he pushes just a little bit more. Now the owner of the pub is keeping an eye on us, clearly prepared to ring the alarm at any moment. Not wanting to bear witness to a massacre, I touch my partner's arm in an attempt to calm him down. He jolts and turns towards me. I've been preparing myself to meet his glare full of rage, but the look he shows me has nothing but the utmost calm. Raymond, don't forget about him. But I'm okay. The train keeps saying something, including something about me, but I don't listen to him. So the cats can, when they see that someone is bothering them, they go like full of rage. Interesting. Raymond wants to turn back to the drunk, but I manage to grab my partner and lead him outside before he does. He finally takes a hold of himself, and the drunk thankfully doesn't go outside. What came over you? He should watch his tongue. And you should watch your behavior. We should have walked away instead of getting into a fight. Raymond says nothing, but I can feel rage boiling in him. We stay silent for a few moments, and then he finally calms down. Okay, I'm sorry. I nod, but inwardly wonder about Raymond being able to change like this. We heard slander addressed to us before, but Raymond has never looked at people that angrily. Did Melissa's death affect him this way? But still, thank you. I'm your partner. We must protect each other, especially from disgusting brutes like that one. I'm not used to that kind of behavior. You shouldn't need to get used to it or tolerate anything like that. He had no right to allow himself to treat you that way. I smile at Raymond sulking and twitching his tail in irritation. It's hard to believe that he was ready to rip that guy apart just a minute ago. You are finally here. It's difficult to read Burkhardt's face. His voice sounds dull. I could allow myself to sob into the corner of the pub, but he had to stay in the office where everything reminds him of Melissa. I've got no good news for you. This case is starting to spin out of control. What do you mean? The news about our department's employee had leaked to the press. Two race-motivated conflicts happened only this morning. It undermines our authority. If we can't even protect ourselves, what hope do ordinary people have? Be sure, if an angry article about the inaction of our management isn't released today, it will be tomorrow. The boss slumps in his chair tiredly. There are piles of papers on his table. Now it won't be easy to tidy up here without Melissa. I can feel tears rising, but I manage to suppress them. If I fall apart right here, will be even worse. Can we change anything? Give some kind of commentary? You don't need to trouble yourself with it, Aina. I had a different kind of question for you, in fact. Are you capable of taking care of this case, or should I hand it over to other investigators? What? No, there is no need for that. I'm not asking it out of curiosity. I know that Melissa was your friend. You seem lost. I need an investigator who can think clearly, and you don't look the part. You want to both take my very case off my hands and leave me without the chance to find my friend's murder. I try to get a grip on myself, not to get hysterical again. I'll manage, boss. No need to worry about me, and I won't fail this case. I'm sure of it. I'm a professional, not a child. Barker gives me a doubtful look and then shifts his gaze to Raymond. She's got it, boss. You can rely on us. With a heavy sigh, okay, but I'll be watching your actions closely, and if I notice that you are lacking in some way, you'll be dismissed. It won't happen. I'll do everything with my power to find the murderer. Great, you may go then. Take a walk, stay, go with Raymond. Take a walk. Let's take a walk. As I leave the office, I realize that I just have to take a walk. I wave a hand at my partner's questioning look and walk in the opposite direction from the wing where our office is. I turn a corner and suddenly realize that I'm a second away from running into someone. Oh! And this someone starts to fall immediately, together with me. Oh, of course, it's Leo. Whoa! And here I was thinking that we have a date, flowers, kiss, and the ouch! Awkwardly propping myself against Leo, I regain my composure and try to get up quickly. I failed to do it though, which makes him smile. I hope that nobody enters this corridor. Indeed, I'm not ready to get you acquainted with my colleagues yet. I throw Leo an irritated glance and finally realize what was hindering my moves. My hair was tangled up and caught in his pendant, okay? This pendant, that's why. I feel a great injustice. The floor is too cold. Caught up in untangling, I lose my balance again and our torsos touch. The thin fabric of his clothes doesn't help to make this whole situation less indecent. And you are too bony. You are not Apollo either. I feel my cheeks instantly growing warmer as my head thumps with embarrassment and my hands stop moving the way I need them to. I can see Leo's peaceful face out of the corner of my eye. He's lying on the floor in a relaxed pose with a teasing smile, and it irritates me even more. Oh no, as if everything else wasn't bad enough. I make an effort to compose myself, calm my shaking hands, and finally set myself free. How stressful. I was just walking to do something for work and not even expect to have an adventure on the way. The weird mood that appeared before dissipates at once when I realize what he's talking about. Melissa? Leo sighs and scratches the back of his head awkwardly. You know, I'm not the best companion in these situations. Besides, I never had friendly feelings towards any of these people who end up on my table, so I can say nothing except for the standard phrase. But you don't need them. Relax. I'm not going to cry on your shoulder. That was an option? Why didn't you say so? Well, the moment is gone now. What a pity. Judging by your gloating face, you are not sorry at all. I missed the chance to get closer to you. I think we were close enough just a minute ago. I'll keep that moment in my memory. Until the evening, at least. I light bump my fist against him in a joking manner and head towards mine and Raymond's tiny office. Well, maybe Leo isn't the best companion, but I feel a bit better now. When I enter the office, my gaze falls on the spot where Melissa used to sit, and I can feel a bump. I feel a lump forming in my throat. Her workspace looks the same as usual, as if she just went out to call someone to Barker's office, or to pick up a new case from the archive, and will come back soon. So, are we still hoping to find something? You have to try. I don't believe that all of the victims, including Melissa, were chosen at random. But if it's about them being an half-bloods, it's surprised that Melissa got killed. She looked no different from a purebred cat. Yeah, because like they say that she looked like a purebred cat, like Reimu. The only ones that could see that she wasn't were people like Reimu that are purebred cats. They were the only ones that could see. So the killer needs to be a purebred cat. It has to be. It doesn't make me feel better. Melissa was attacked the moment she walked into her apartment. Can it be that she let the murder in? Maybe I even know the murder? What's the point in guessing though? Especially when we haven't examined the crime scene yet. And sadly, we'll have to. Forcing down my personal feelings, I start sorting through Melissa's papers methodically. They are mainly contract statements for Burkhardt to sign, notes and folders with information about other cases. Nothing worth noticing, just the same work related to the rubbish we deal with every day. Well, it doesn't look like there are any personal things here. I sighed with frustration. Melissa knew how to separate her private life from her work. Oops, I pressed too fast. I'm glad that you found a way to be snarky. Hay puts the last folder aside. I guess we should go to our place now. We sorted everything out here completely. I never seen a place so neat before. It's because someone has never tried to be neat. Hey, are you calling me a I point at the crooked stack of papers on the side of Reimu's workspace to go for my words. Fine, Mom. You convinced me. Let's go already. I pressed there too fast. We gather our things and leave the department. We need to wait for the department expert on magical traits, who seemed to be running late for some reason. Because of how unusual the case is, and due to a guardian spirit's presence at Melissa's place, it was decided that we should carry out a more detailed examination. Without wasting any time, we decided to interrogate the residents of the nearest apartments. We have to split up to cover them all. After interviewing my group of people, I'm not surprised to find out that no one knows anything, didn't see anything, and are just hearing about Melissa for the first time. Well, maybe Reimu is having a better luck than I am, even though I really doubt it. When I come back to the apartment, Reimu isn't there, so I decide to go inside and look around. As soon as I come in, a detail I missed this morning suddenly stands out to me. The dead salamander guardian spirit is laying in the middle of the floor on a symbol of winter. Okay, so the salamander is dead, that is the guardian spirit of Melissa, and this symbol of winter. Okay. Its blackened body is stark against the light floorboards. It isn't easy to kill a guardian spirit, okay? It's surprising that we cannot find any magical trace, since it's kind of impossible to do that kind of damage with your bare hands. Okay, so to kill a guardian spirit, you need to use some kind of magic, and you can't kill with your bare hands. So needs to be someone that knows how to hide everything. It's easy to understand. I walk out of the apartment, shutting the door behind me, and walk down the stairs, expecting my partner and the expert. And I'm really surprised when I see Leo waiting. Reimu finally appears as well, and Emil jumps at the opportunity to bicker with him. Seeing me, Leo ignores him. Aina, I was scared that the only person who will be here is this shabby tail. Shabby tail? I will rip your tail out. What kind of savage I have to work with sometimes. I'm so glad to see you, dear. You have no idea. Despite the situation, nothing stops Leo from spreading his pheromones, as my partner recently described it. Well, I hope everyone is ready to work. Would you care to explain what the hell you are doing here? To you? Not really. But seriously, where's Ben? Okay, Aina, just for you. The thing is that Ben got sick, and it just so happened that I can replace him, which is why Berker gracefully allowed me to examine the crime scene. Reimu arched his eyebrows skeptical. Got sick, huh? What a lucky coincidence. You don't think that I inflict some sort of harm on poor Ben, do you? Of course he doesn't, right, Reimu? Reimu? I don't trust you, pretty boy. Why is that you can suddenly replace an expert on magical traits? If you want to know, Kitty Cat, us pathologists get trained in this type of skills as well. Maybe not as in depth as an expert will be, but I'm competent enough to see the things your sharp eyes won't notice. Is it clear now? We don't have time for this. I know that the building suggests that we should go inside before we attract the attention of an audience. We'll want to see how the situation unfolds. Leo enters the part and whistles when he sees what troubled me so much. What an interesting sight. What are you seeing that's so unusual? Do you see the murder guardian spirits every day? Our murder becomes more and more curious. I didn't think it was possible, especially without leaving any magical trace. There you go. It's quite strange to see something rouse Leo's curiosity, and it's also scary to look into Raymond's darkening eyes. We are at a crime scene, not visiting a museum of oddities. He's really out of sorts today, but Leo doesn't seem troubled about it. The pathologist walks around Melissa's small apartment and comes back to us. Well, even if the murder walked around in here, there are no traces left, and the lock isn't broken as far as I can see. I hope that my guess wouldn't be confirmed. What guess? Melissa knew the murder, my tailed friend. Melissa knew the murder, my tailed friend, and she let him in. Which of us is the investigator here, me or you? It narrows the circle of suspects a bit, but we don't know about all of her friends. Maybe it wasn't a friend, maybe it was a neighbor, or a baker from her favorite shop. Late at night? Leo raised his hands as if giving up. Well, I'm not a detective, I'm just a pathologist, and one who plays another expert at that. Leo stares at the run under the salmon body with disappointment and folds his arms. And these look even weirder. It appeared to be just a drowning, and there is no magic in here. But why? It's clearly impossible to kill a guardian spirit with a drowning. Are we sure there is no magic? Trust me, you have sensed it. The ice leaves traces behind, and you don't have to be an expert to notice them. Maybe it's about the celebration of winter? Am I the only one who remembers it? I mean, I get that this hermit doesn't. He barely leaves his dungeon, but you, Aina? You have been waiting for it for the whole year. He's right, but what's the connection? Why is the murder telling us about it? Haim bares his teeth disturbingly. Is he taunting us? Wants to lure us into a trap or hinting at something? Who knows what's on this psycho mind? Anyway, he finally left a clue for us to go on. If that's the case, we should tell Parker. There will be many people at the winter celebration. Leo look at Raymond and me in turns and throw us in the towel. Well, you two keep thinking about all of this, and I'll go work. It looks like I've done everything I could do here. You'll be able to get more detailed report in the evening. Okay, thank you. Always at your service. Leo packs Salman the body carefully and leaves. There is only the winter symbol and the lizard-shaped burn mark on the floor. Guardian spirits, what do you know about them? I start thinking out loud. They do not inhabit many houses. Maybe one house in a dozen as a salamander, or even less than that, okay? It's like they chose, is what it seems. People think of them as if they are something like a pet, there you go, but it's more complicated than that. Salamanders keep the living space warm and cozy. Usually they have some kind of connection with the owner, or how should I put it? Raymond shrugs. Call it whatever you like. I look around Melissa's modest apartment and touch a wooden dresser. I think that when spirit guardians leave a place, it often remains uninhabited. People think of it as unlucky. This apartment might have the same fate. Why? It's just a superstition. The spirit has a strong connection with the owner. Can't you sense anything here either? Raymond shakes his head. I can only sense that this place grows colder and more uncomfortable with every minute. With both Salamander and Dorn being dead, it feels like a dosed campfire. Yeah, I agree with the last part. We need to look around. Thankfully, Melissa's apartment is no bigger than mine, and her personal things fit on the table and on a few shelves. With her unusual neatness, Melissa wrote down absolute everything. Names, birthdays. It will probably help us to locate and interview all of her friends. There are albums lying in a separate stack. Melissa wasn't an artist. She just got distracted sometimes. and sketched some funny phrase Air Salamander. I don't even notice how I smile when I find sketch portraits of Remo and myself. I could stand here and browse through her drawings forever, but my eyes suddenly find a thin, bright book with a clasp. It looked like a diary. What? My partner stopped searching and looked in the direction of my gaze. What diary? An ordinary personal diary where people write down their worries or whatever happened to them today. Don't the cats have that sort of thing? I know what a diary is. I just didn't think that Melissa would have one. I thought that only teenagers were into it. Don't underestimate the usefulness of a diary. A bit more and I'll get myself one. Chaim stares at book apprehensively. Are we going to read it? What else can we do? It's kinda of awkward. I mean, it's personal. It is. But we'll probably find something important inside. So we'll take it with us and look through it in a better location. I stashed the diary in my bag. Is that us? Chaim looked into the album that I left open when I got distracted. This snarky face was definitely copied from you. Melissa really understood how to see into people. Chaim turns the page and his expression changed. What's in there? I dashed towards the album and looked for myself. There, between the drawings, some unfamiliar runes I've been carefully traced. What is this language? Maybe Melissa was into self-education? Not satisfied with this reasoning, I opened the next page and there are runes as well, and bigger ones at that. It doesn't look like self-education. These are no drawings on the next page. Now they are only crudely scribbled runes, as if some kind of a madman wrote them there instead of Melissa. The old page is filled with the frightened runic mess. Melissa said that the salamander was burning her while she was drowning. Do you think this? Maybe. I don't know this language. We should take the album and hand it over to the experts. It's a pity that Leo went away. Maybe something will look familiar to him. Chaim takes a closer look at the runes with a frown. He can't know absolutely everything though, and I never see anything like it either. It looks creepy. It does, especially on the last page. I leaf through the old albums quickly, but can't find similar writing anywhere else. The amount of weird details increases, but at least I feel that the investigation is moving somewhere. Not off the rails, I hope. Okay, that's good. We go back to the apartment when we finish search through Melissa's apartment. The celebration of winter, huh? I don't like it. There are a lot of people and we don't know the murderer's intentions. I hope he's not planning to attack another victim. Barker groans thoughtfully. Someone will have some extra work during the celebration. I'll send a few people to maintain a lookout. And plainclothes patrol. There's unrest in the streets as it is, and the murders are turning into big news. There is no need to make people worry because of the signs of law enforcement nearby. What about us? We'll be working at the celebration as well, won't we? Berger frowns, pondering deeply. I can't even guess what is mulling over in his mind. The situation is becoming dangerous. It's our job, though. What if the murderer decides to lure you through into a trap? He didn't leave the symbol on the floor for nothing. We don't know that, and besides, we'll be out in the open. Becker's doubt is noticeable, but he gives a beverage agreement in the end. Fine, we'll count it as if you convinced me, but be extremely careful. We nod in sync, listen to standard instructions, and go back to our tiny office. I took out everything I got at Melissa's apartment. I gave her a howl with runes up for deciphering before we went to report to Barker, and the rest of things went to other victim belongings. When we enter our office, Chaim doesn't get distracted as usual. He starts sorting through previous and today's findings instead. I'll go out for a bit. I don't want to measure where I'm going. And Chaim doesn't look too eager to clarify it anyway. He just gives me a distracted nod to show that he heard me. At first, it looks like there is no one in the basement. But in a couple of minutes, I do hear some kind of noise and it scares me a bit. I look around again and I take a tentative step forward towards to the covered body. Melissa's body. For some reason, only now as I see here, it finally sinks in that my friend is dead. And I made peace with it in any way. I reach out to pull the sheet off when somebody grabs me by the arm. You shouldn't do that. Leo gently leads me away from the body. I let him do it without any resistance. You shouldn't just come here. I needed it. Leo sighs and rolls his eyes. You didn't. You have seen enough already. I don't even know what I was thinking. It's if my feet carry me here on their own. Well, at least now you are looking calmer than in the morning. I mean, I cannot solve all day long. You can if you drink my decoction of onion and garlic with a drop of lemon. Why would you even need a decoction of onion and garlic with a drop of lemon? I think that's a curious combination, and its effect proved to be interesting. Well, we have always known that Leo is weird, but I won't be offering this decoction to you. I won't even insist. Instead of that, Leo gives me a hot tea with sweets, which seems like a bit of a weird experience to me among dead bodies, and almost pushed me out of the basement so I won't try to look at Melissa again. Well, he's right. There isn't any need for me to torment myself all day, as if it will change anything. Trying to hide something, maybe? Oh, you are here. I was going to look for you in the dark and scary corners of the apartment. Remo sees that I'm gathering up my things to go home, and his eyes widen with surprise. What? No overtime? Absolutely not. Well, must be the weather or something. After quickly shoving the folders into random spots on the shelves, Remo walks out of the office with me. Did you decide not to stay late either? I want to walk you home. It's my duty, considering circumstances. Aren't you worried what the murder might be strong enough to kill us both? I would rather be worried for him if I were you. We stay silent through the journey. There have been enough words and emotions today. We need to let them sink in. Remo leads me all the way to my door, but he still looks worried. Are you sure you'll be okay? Yes, I'm sure that the monster under my bed won't eat me. It looks like Remo wants to say something snarky, but he changes his mind and looks at me with the utmost seriousness. I'm worried about you. I know, but you don't need to fuss over me as if I'm some kind of crystal vase. I will be fine. I'm worried about you too. We have a tough day tomorrow, and you still need to get to your place. You won't get a proper sleep if you keep this up. Don't worry, I'll get a proper sleep. After saying goodbye to Remo, I walk up to my apartment. Succumbing to my surprise anxiety, I turn the bolt on the second lock as well. Usually, I don't touch it. To hell with that, some extra caution won't hurt. There you go. Because knowing that someone can enter and murder us, we lock the second one too. My sculptures shine in the rays of the noon sun. I have to look over the crease on my pants and glance left and right from time to time. The silhouette of wind is a clue the murder graciously provided to us, and if we fail to take advantage of it, the rest of the investigation will be very problematic, especially since nothing came from the questioning of Melissa's few friends. The celebration is carried out in honor of the spirits of ice and cold, which send a big blizzard around the world every year, according to folklore. Expert artists depict these mighty creatures as the ice sculptures standing all around the town square. Deep in my thoughts, I don't notice Remo sneaking up to me behind my back. Anna, where's your holiday outfit? I'm not sure if you remember, but we are here on assignment. We are undercover though. Okay, where is your fancy costume then? Remo tugs at the edge of his collar. I won't call human clothes particularly comfortable, so I'm okay with the way I am right now. Suddenly, I notice Beckard approaching Remo and me. It's very unusual to see him in an informal environment. What are you doing here, boss? I want to see that everyone is safe, and I've been spending too much time in the office anyway. Or this is his way of avoiding heaps of paperwork. He's particularly drowning in it without Melissa. Do you remember everything? We are supposed to meet on this very spot in an hour. Got it? Yes, we got it. So, let's go? Remo is talking to me. You don't have to go together. Maybe it will be better if we split. I nod. Yes, it will be faster that way. What? Hey, you can just... Remo is clearly outraged, but I ponder on it anyway. Okay. Go alone, we can risk to die. Right? Beckard can be the killer. Remo can be the killer too, right? We don't know. But because it's my first run, I'll go alone. Beckard nods his approval. Traitor. Remo, you are not out for a stroll. We are at work. Remember that, please. Remo scowls, mutters something under his breath, and walks away in a randomly chosen direction. Berk and I go in opposite directions. There are a surprising number of people near the stalls. Beside the sculptures, there are many other handmade items from the local craftsmen at the celebration of winter. The aroma of hot snacks wafts in the air, making me feel a bit hungry. Suddenly, I see a familiar silhouette in the crowds. Is that Leo? I didn't know that he was going to participate in this operation, and why would he? Did our shade-loving pathology decide to get out of the basement and take a walk under the bright sun? I will never believe it for the life of me. I barely have time to make up in my mind to follow him when he turns towards me as if sensing my gaze and greets me. Aina, good to see you. And I will say I'm scared to see you. Can't I come to the town celebration? Of course you can, but I thought that you would rather prefer a celebration in the basement, not here. It's so sweet that you know me so well. Our relationship grows to a new level. I fold my arms on my chest, making it absolutely clear that I'm waiting for an explanation. Fine. I decided to contribute to the investigation. Does our boss know? Must he? You want to say that you are here on your own initiative? Leo smiles mysteriously. Only for the sake of science. Don't forget that I'm self-proclaimed expert of reading magical traits and brewing onion garlic decoctions. It's hard to say that word. I don't know what to reply, and meanwhile, Leo slips his arm under mine. Well, let's get down to business. What business? I didn't call for it. Are you going to refuse my help then? I let out a sigh of irritation, but in the end, I let Leo accompany me. We move close to the first stall, and my gaze is caught by a sparkly animal figurines made of enchanted snow that lets them keep their shape. Have you never seen those before? They are pretty. Am I not allowed to look at them? Seeing his mocking eyes, I feel really awkward, like a little girl. Oh, it's adorable. I didn't know you could make such a cute pout. I always sighed hard. Ouch, I'm very delicate, if you want to know. I'm on duty, Leo. It's not too late to take a day off and go on a date. Very funny. That's what I would prefer instead of getting myself exposed in the murder's obvious trap. We had no other options. Would you think of anything better than that? Of course, my head is full of brilliant ideas. Like that idea about getting into Melissa's apartment. Wait, you say that our expert fell ill? He did. Why? So you have nothing to do with it? Who do you take me for, Aina? Unperturbed, he keeps walking, while I keep letting things I've just heard sink in. Maybe Rem is correct in his attempts to avoid Leo? Why are you so interested in this case? The diary you found at her place is very interesting. Rare runes, dead language. I'm not sure that our experts will decipher it. He said it with his eyes shining, which suits his curious personality. I wonder, has he always been this passionate? Let me guess, you were... Oh, you like to know more about me? That's so sweet. Leo. Okay. To answer your question, no. I wasn't top student. I wasn't even top 10. They even planned to kick me out when I was in second year. Wait, but how? Oh, sweetheart. I admire your faith in my incredible intellectual abilities, and I must admit that you are totally right. But the academy seemed boring to me, so I had to find other ways to entertain myself. And of course, it affected my reputation. And of course, your entertainment didn't harm anyone? Let's put it that way. I don't see the consequence of scientific endeavors as harmful. Whenever you offer me some tea next time, I guess I have to refuse. I swear I'll never turn you into my little lab rat, especially when there's a lab kitty cat nearby. I'm joking. We get started for a while as we view the stalls and my contemplations don't let me focus properly. Leo is always relaxed, sociable, even if a bit weird. Can I really consider his attitude towards me as special, or is he like that with everyone? I don't even know what I have with these kind of thoughts. We are just colleagues after all. And he's been flirting with me as long as I remember being at this shop. Maybe I shouldn't make any illusions with a person like him. Plus, as it was his state previous, he struggles when it comes to a normal woman's emotions. That isn't even to mention his obsession with strange experiments. Will I like him treating me in a special way for real though? Let's say I don't know. It's difficult to say. We are from different worlds. What can we possibly have in common? Aina, it's not the right moment to think about it. About what? Just about some silly stuff. Look what I found. Suddenly he bends down and something cool touches my hands. I think it should be cold, not cool. I think they want to say cold. I step away inwardly and look down. Leo is holding a small glass. That's for you. I carefully take it from his hands. It's very elegant looking and fragile, and its beauty case causes me to smile. Judging by your face, I made the right choice. It's a rare occasion for me, you know. Thank you, it's very beautiful. And magical. It always stays cool, so it can be pressed against the forehead. Maybe I should buy another one for myself? It will be useful. I giggle. Even when Leo tries his best to be romantic, his attempt is doomed to fail. I think we always find ways to calm a migraine. Different ways through different means. We all looked through most of the stalls, but there was nothing suspicious either. Maybe the murderer was joking? A serial murderer doesn't joke like a joker to me. Soon enough, we approached the last stall. Nothing is being sold there. Its display is entirely empty. But in the depth of the stall, a man is sitting, hidden in the shimmering dim light. The owner of the stall is looking at us closely with his eyes shining feverishly. He sways nervous and then jumps from the spot and walks towards us abruptly. A pale, haggard face, bags under the eyes, and trembling thin fingers. This man makes me want both to get away from him as far as possible and to help him somehow. I shudder and notice that Leo is tense as well. Crowds of people flow around the empty stall without paying it any attention, which makes Leo and me it only visitors. I tell fortune. No good. Can't tell fortune. We don't need... Leo has no time to refuse when the stranger leans over the table and grabs me by the wrists. I fail to suppress a pained ease. Oh, you glow, faintly, but still glow. The touch doesn't last long, but it's enough for a weird feeling to roll over my body, as if some worms got under my skin and are crawling along my spine. I yank my hand away as soon as I feel the man's grasp loosen. Leo freezes. The fortune teller face stretched in an insane grin. Some lunatic, and trust me, if it's me saying it, it's definitely short a few marbles. Hehe, lunatic, go. I rub the wrist the weird man was squeezing and wince. Are you okay? Let me see. I show him my arm, still feeling it pulsing with pain. I know I'm more of an expert when it comes to dead people, but there will be a bruise for sure. Well, I don't think that's our guy, but I guess that Bakar should be notified about him. He says something else as well, but I barely register it, being too deep in my thoughts. I can still remember the crazy man's eyes. They look like two bottomless pools, dead and colorless. There was something wrong about that man. It felt like every cell in my body reacted to his touch. Was it just fear or something else? Earth to Aina? What? Sorry, I got lost in thought. Yeah, you're right. We should tell Becker. I'd rather not catch his eye. I'll go back to the department. You have been trying so hard to convince me that you have been here only as mere visitor. Can it be that Becker scares you? He has only one eye, but it's like he used to see right through me. I don't want to tempt fate. Drop by if you need some ointment to help with the bruise. No side effects, I promise. After that, he vanished in the crowd and I go back to rendezvous point. I'll ask again. What's your name? He's been trying to force something out of the trainee for age, but the man has only been throwing distrustful glances at him and staying stubbornly silent. Meanwhile, Raymond is clearly almost out of patience. Are we going to sit here till morning or what? Listen, we need to know your name at least. Can you say it? The fortune teller looks at me closely, almost as if he is about to say something, and then he shifts his eyes to Remo and says nothing. Name, occupation, what you're doing at celebration? This question sounds for the 10th time, but silence remains the only answer. The sooner you start talking, the sooner we'll be able to go our separate ways. The fortune teller throws a quick glance at me, then at Remo again, and then stops looking at us altogether. Yeah, we found out nothing this way. Hamill slams shut the folder that's still empty after all of our attempts at the interrogation and asks the officer on duty to lock the man in a cell. We have to let this man go sooner or later, and we won't be able to help him anyhow. He hasn't even told us his name. I don't understand what's wrong with him. There are no traces of drug or alcohol consumption from the lab report. Maybe this man is just insane. You'll stay at the park for a week, and all this time you'll be watching in case something changes in his behavior. We need time to do a trivial thing like finding out who he is. Jaime goes to get blood, and I read the results of deciphering the runes from Melissa's album. It turned out that it's impossible to translate them with the resource we got. The experts could only tell that based on the style and direction of the strokes, this language is a few thousand years old. Why is this case so full of uncertainties? The rest of the day flies by, and surprisingly enough, it isn't too late when I get back to my place. After drinking some herbal tea with cookies, I sprawl out on the bed and stare at the ceiling thoughtfully. My hand involuntarily touches the spot on my wrist that the fortune teller grabbed today. I feel the pain and hiss. I still think that there is a reason behind the fact that we have met this man. But how can he be connected with the murder and why did he attack me? To make things worse, it's impossible to talk to him right now. It's as if the cat got his tongue. Even though we got a clue, we end up getting more confused, and the criminal might be looking for another victim right now. Although, was it really a clue? Why would the murder leave any pointers for us? But if he doesn't, what does it tell me? With my head buzzing with troubled thoughts, I finally fall asleep. A dark silhouette is walking from one corner to another, restless, its footsteps echoing loudly. Candlelight flickers slightly in the faint draft. It's the middle of the night, but it doesn't look like the stranger in the cloak is troubled by these facts. It seems that he's talking to himself. What for? I don't understand anything. Yes, I know you have warned me, but I wasn't ready for that sort of stuff. No, it's just... I didn't know. I want to avoid it. I know I was wrong. I understand that I must trust you, but why didn't you tell me? The stranger falls silent, and now sounds except for the howling of the wind outside cease for a while. I get it. I'll be able to fix everything. I will. Yes, I believe you. I'll go to the end. When I wake up, I still feel tired, so I decide not to open my eyes just yet. Interesting. We were seeing again that part in the beginning, because don't forget that we saw in the beginning that in that church or whatever is that place, and now we were seeing say that he's gonna fix, so he made a mistake. But is that guy the killer? Okay. Headache is split in my head, and my pulse is thumping in my ears. Yesterday events rushed through my mind like a kaleidoscope of bright pictures, and I realized with horror that our total investigation has gone a step further. As I dress for work and drink tea at the same time, I suddenly sway so violently that I have to grab the edge of the table so as not to fall. Oh wow, what a great tea! Of course I know that's not reason for my condition. I stayed up trying to focus my eyes on the world that just swam in front of me. That's the last thing I need right now. Maybe I should sleep more? The weakness disappears as fast as it rolls over me. I make sure that I'm not planning to make a close acquaintance with my floorboards anymore. Gather my stuff and go to the department. Is it lack of sleep, or is that fortune teller that did something to us? Can be. Okay, where's my partner? I hope you won't try to tell me that he got tired at the celebration and slept in late. Huh? What's that? There's a bright piece of paper with a heart and a request to drop by to the pathologist above for a cup of tea pinned to the evidence boards. I don't doubt for a second that it was Leo who wrote this note. I hope he has something important to share. I don't think he will have called me for nothing anyway. I'll leave a note on the desk so Haim will know where to look for me and walk out of the office. Leo, I'm here to drink my tea. Alone? Where's the kitty cat? I have no idea. Leo disappears for a bit and comes back with the tea he promised. I hope it's not the only reason you called me here. Of course not. I think I found a clue. He's almost glowing with joy, and it makes me feel mistrustful rather than genuinely interested. You are aware that magic doesn't disperse instant in the bodies of those who have it, right? Including half-bloods, even though they can't actually use it. I nod confidently, remembering how hard it is for me to feel my own magic. There you go, some more backstory to understand. Half-blood, they can't use magic. Only the pure red can use magic that sense things, hear things, like that. Okay. Usually I have no problem with noticing the remnants of magic. They always remain there for a few days. It's not the case with our latest victim though. There is no hint of magic, so I couldn't have made a mistake. I checked and rechecked everything. It happens though, doesn't it? I pick up my mug, slightly surprised with the fact that drinks tea at such a place becomes a usual occasion for me. It does, but not... Wait, I don't get it. What's so special about the Half-Blood's magic? It's unique in its own way, of course. It's a fusion of different creatures. On one hand, it's practically useless. You can't use your magic, can you? Not directly. But on the other hand, it's like an exotic cocktail. It's difficult to put into words. But I can say one thing for sure. The murderer knows what he's doing. His excitement quickly turns into disappointment. I want to be able to figure out what exactly he's doing though. There are too many possibilities. Plus, I'm just a woman. So my total lack of magic doesn't help in this matter either. I feel distraught. What does he need it for? That's for you to wreck your brains over. I love my job. Things are so mysterious and interesting sometimes. There he goes again, sounding as if we are having fun instead of discussing dead people. It's none of my concern though. Thank you for the information. Now we can cross out some option at least. You're always welcome. What would you do without me? You definitely won't die from modesty. Drop by for the report. It will be ready a bit later. Okay, see you then. Or send the kitty cat here. You are so cruel, Leo. He just smiles at me. Leaving him to his own business, I make my way back to the office. Hopefully, Remo is already there. My part is indeed at his desk. Yeah, I'm late. Becker had told me off already. I ran into him on my way here. Remo ears twitch in irritation. And you were at Death Domain, judging by that crooked note? The note is already in the trash, merciless crumple at that. Leo adds some information for the investigation. Remo scoffs. Oh, really? What's so upsetting? The fact that he's poking his nose into something that's not his business? He's trying to help us, so your complaints are groundless. I shake my head and hastily tell everything I learned from Leo. Remo doesn't act the way I expected though. My partner arches an eyebrow as if my words don't convince him at all, but say nothing. He's a bit glum today, and I'm not sure it will do our work any good. I don't understand why he's acting like this, but I don't really want to figure it out. Turn Remo out of the door, leave the office. Turn Remo out of the office. Like, you need to check. So, turn Remo out of the office. It's not my fault if you are in your bad moods. What are you talking about? Please, I roll my eyes. Don't take me for an idiot. I know everyone has their bad days, but it mustn't have any effect on our investigation. I think you should take a walk and put yourself together. Come back when you're calmed down. Also, do me a favor and get a report from Leo. A visit to that guy will hardly improve my emotional balance. I won't accept any objections. Thankfully, Remo doesn't protest. He only grumbles something under his breath and walks out of the office, leaving me alone. I sigh and start sorting through the papers, notes, and different pieces of evidence. When I take yet another pile of paperwork, it falls apart and everything falls to the floor. Everything including a small familiar book with a lock on it. The diary. Why is it in this pile? Remo, you are such a slob. I run my fingers over the cover as I think of Melissa touching another person's diary. Even when that person is dead, it feels very off-putting. I can't read the diary right now, but if I leave it lying on the desk, it might get lost somewhere because of Remo's negligence. I look around our tiny office that looks more like a branch of an archive of forgotten case and end up putting the diary into the cabinet with beverage Remo has always been ignoring. As soon as I sit down at my desk, the door swings open and my irritated part appears out of the corridor. I'm never setting foot in this bastard basement again. I swear to you, if I even get killed on duty, you'll dissect me with exquisite pleasure. You are overreacting as usual. Leo isn't insane. I can't argue with that as usual. Remo goes back to his spot and we finally get back to work. At some point, Remo suddenly slaps himself on the forehead. Damn it! What's wrong? Berkar will kill me. Huh? He said that he wants to see you in this office, alone. When was that? When you kindly decided that I need to cool down and calm down and we parted. I stand up and walk towards the door. Please, don't tell me that I forgot to tell you about it. After throwing one more fearsome glare at him, I hurry to see the boss. As I get close to Becker's office, I can hear some noise in there and wonder if I'm here at the wrong time. Well, I definitely won't be just standing at the door, so I knock softly and come in. It turns out that the noise I heard was a heap of folders falling to the floor. Someone clearly needs to tidy up here. Becker isn't in his best mood and, judging by what I see, doesn't notice me. Boss? Aina, that's you. He looks at the recent mess tiredly and turns his gaze to me. I'm sorry, I got lost in time. You won't forget my request, your partner Ulto. No, it's not Remo's fault. He smiles condescendingly. I pretend that I believe you. Remo said that you want to see me alone? Yes, I want to talk about you. I got a report from Leo. I feel a lump rising in my throat as I begin to understand the direction our conversation is about to take. I think you know what I want to say. I say nothing, let him speak further. As you know, we can't protect every half-blood in town, but the culprit clearly let us know that he can attack an employee of the department too, if he really wants to. And based on Leo's theory, Becker lets out the exhausted sigh and looks at me closely. Aina, let's be frank, you are half-elf. That's right. If the criminal is interested. But boss, I can't even sense it. Could Melissa sense hers? I fall silent as I try to remember. Melissa, what are you doing? What plant is that? It's from my mini garden. It doesn't have much space at home and our tiny office is so dull? Well, dingy? No, lifeless. So I decided to freshen the space up a bit. Do you mind it? No, I don't mind at all. I didn't know that you had a mini garden. It's just a few plants on my windowsill. Did I tell you that Earth is my clan's force of nature? It doesn't help me at all though. But I like to grow flowers anyway. Maybe someday I'll have my own house with a garden? I shake my head. Melissa definitely was overly humble when he said that magic doesn't help her, but mostly like it was because she couldn't sense her own magic. As far as I know, previous victims couldn't use their magic either, or that Burnett woman would have definitely burned someone. Boss, since we are speaking frankly, what do you want from me? I want you to be safe, which is why I want you to hand this case over to other investigators. It feels like I'm doused in cold water, even though I knew that he is about to say just that. I do my best to hide my emotions and lock eyes with Berkar. You know that I'll never agree to it, and I can't lose another employee. I'm not Melissa, and I can't defend myself. And our criminals isn't a petty thief. It's my job, and my job is being my babysitter? No, but boss, stop it. Remo and I joined the party perfectly aware of the risks. The thing that happened to me. I'm a professional, or at least trying to become one, and your worries only make things difficult for me. If this psycho decides to attack me, well, great. We'll catch him faster that way. Melissa was your secretary, Burnett. Melissa was your secretary. Burnett, a mentally unstable woman, and Clea Mercer, a quiet teenager. I'm an investigator. I'm ready to defend myself if necessary. So let's do my job already. Berkar is looking at me as if he just realized the truth behind my words. Damn, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm just... forget it. May I get back to my work? He just nods, and I stand up silent to go. Berkar looks so strict that I begin to regret my angry rant, and I quickly put distance between us. Time flies by. As soon as Hago starts whining that he needs to eat right now, we go to the pub. Another round of breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. Maybe we are full fakes to Berkeley's limitless care, but I'm hungry like a wolf, like a cat. Doesn't matter. And anyway, I want to apologize. Oh, those food make you kinder? I'm trying to be sincere. If you want to know and you are taunting me, I appreciate your attempt at sincerity. Yeah, I get it. I deserve it. Exactly. So we are good? You make it sound so easy. Come on, Aina. It makes a sad, cute face, and I can't help but to compare it to an ordinary cat. How can I be angry with him? Alright, okay, we are good. My partner beams at me, and we finally start eating. He looks out the window thoughtfully from time to time. A blizzard is starting outside. What a stark contrast. It's so warm and cozy in the pub with the aromas of food wafting around. I don't want to be outside at all. Let's finish the food. Yeah, I really don't want to freeze my tail off. Make a sieve for your tail. It's all kind of stuff. No, wait a second. Oh god, no, it was a joke. A strippy one. Oh, Raimo. After getting done with the food, I have no idea how that much food could fit into Raimo. We hurry to the park before we get snowed in. In the evening, I stay at the office alone as usual. As I'm about to go home, I stop. My gaze falls onto my wrist with the bruise still visible. That man. We refuse to talk, but maybe he'll grow more talkative if there are no other investigators, whose presence will put pressure on him. Besides, it was me whom he attacked, and he saw my magic too. A whole day has passed, so maybe our unfortunate fortune teller has come to this sense a bit. Not thinking of it too long, I go to the temporary holding cells. The weird man is sitting in the corner of his cell, swaying methodically, but as soon as he notices me, he leaps up to his feet and leans against the bars. Who, the Firefly is here. The man looks even worse than yesterday, and the plate with food seems to be untouched, probably since the very big morning. My hopes from an adequate dialogue start to dwindle quickly. It doesn't look like anything will pop up, but I'll try anyway. Ask about the Firefly. Why are you calling me Firefly? Because you are glowing. It's dark here, and you are glowing brighter than before. You are talking about the glow again. What do you mean by that exactly? The insane man looked at me as if I'm an idiot. That feels off. Don't you know? I'm glowing too, but only a bit. My glow wasn't enough. They are too dark. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the magic of light? The man shakes his head so vigorously that his hair gets even more disheveled. I don't know what is called, it just glows. You mentioned someone dark. What do you mean? I don't know who they are. They are dark. They don't shine. They whisper. The man starts muttering totally incoherently. In a troubled state, he jumps up and starts dashing around the cell, not paying attention to me anymore. I try to steer him back towards the conversation a few times, but it's useless. I hope he'll get better in a couple of days. The magic of light. Could he possibly be talking about it? Even though people rarely get this sort of magic, it still happens. But how did he notice my magic? Although I don't think he'll answer this question. I turn towards the exit when suddenly the man starts wheezing. Is he choking? Hey, do you need help? I don't get the reply, of course. Biting my lip with uncertainty, I throw a couple of glances around me. There is no one here but me. I can't even call anyone for help. Well, I got myself into a pickle for sure. Technically, I can't just go away and leave him like this. What if he dies? I open the door of the cell and walk in, leaving the key in the lock. But when I lean over the man, he suddenly jerks towards me and throws me to the side with force I totally didn't expect from an emaciated person. A flash of pain and the world grows dark. I open my eyes, jump up to my feet and suddenly feel myself sway, barely staying upright. I look around the cell. It's empty. That's just great. He escaped and let him do it. Ain't you idiots? Swearing, I push away from the bars and run toward the exit. The guard station is empty. It looked like the man got away while the guards were doing their rounds. It's nearly impossible for a crazy person. I shouldn't have acted so relaxed near him. What am I supposed to do now? Fresh air doesn't make me feel bad at all, but at least my thoughts get somewhat in order. I prop myself against the wall of the department. So, what we have? 3 dead bodies, runes in unknown language, a murderer who's a mage with his motive unclear, and a lunatic who's probably connected to this case, and who had escaped. And why had he escaped? Because you are needed, Aina. I cover my face with my hands in an attempt to calm down. I don't know how long I was unconscious, but this man can be literally anywhere by now. I stop a patrol passing by, give them a description of the escaped man, and finally, noticing that I'm freezing, go back inside. 2 silhouettes, one of each is wrapped in a cloak from head to toe, meet together in a narrow alleyway. Oh, you? May I ask you what you are doing here? I escaped. Escaped? The Firefly. I tricked her, pushed her, and escaped. Pushed her? Did she talk to you? She did. The cloaked stranger is with anger. I knew you only caused trouble. Bad luck. I hope you'll hold on at least. How is she? Is she wounded? The Firefly? I don't know. She hit her head. I see. Well, I'll have to get rid of you. A knife glints in the dim moonlight. The stranger whips it out and slashes the crazy man's throat. The voice of the guards echo from the other end of the hallway, but the cloaked figure vanishes out of sight quickly. Okay, so that guy, crazy dude, was working too for those guys. And now he's dead because it seems that they are after us. And because like he said that he doesn't know if he hurt us or not, the guys knew that he was causing trouble, so they killed him already. Interesting. Once again, I thank my luck stars for the fact that we had dragged an old shabby couch into our office. Although Haim flops on it every time, it says that he wants to slack off from work. I mean, I meant to throw this grand testament to his laziness right out of the window, but right now it's just what I need. My head is splitting with pain. I guess I hit the wall very seriously. I don't want to go home at all. I have no idea how long I've been lying like this. But judging by the first rays of sun being visible through the window, I've slept through the night. Aina, are you okay? I blink sleepily as I shift my gaze to Haim and sit up. A new flash of pain punches in my head, bring on a wave of nausea. God, I haven't eaten since yesterday afternoon. I must be looking terrible. At least I feel that way. May I should call for someone? It's a bump on my head. I'll survive. I just need to eat something. I'll be perfect well. That man, did the patrol find him? I don't know. What were you thinking? He pretended that he was choking, and there was no one else near him, so Remus' irritation dissipated as quick as it appeared. Okay, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have gone to him alone. I know, it was my mistake. I guess we have lost some hypothetical clues. He'll be found. That kind of guy won't be able to hide for long. I hope so. Anyway, lie down, I'll bring something for you to eat, okay? Just don't bring a pile of chicken legs, I'm begging you. That's why he knocked you out so easily. Grass is the only thing you eat. It's not because of that. Fire, I'll be more tolerant towards your herbivorous habits. I like his care, and even though he's always been like that, now I see it clearer than ever before. It looked like uninvited thoughts about Ray will always be popping up in my mind now, even if my head is splitting with excruciating pain. I really feel better after having some food, but the tension of last night takes its toll on me, and I doze again. Ray shakes me gently, waking me up right before an officer walks into our office and demands for me to go to Becker's office alone. Ray is outraged, but the man insists, saying that it's the order he was given. Knowing perfectly well that what's waiting for me, I calm my partner down and follow the officer. There is a stranger waiting for me in the boss office in addition to Bearcard. I didn't see him at the department before. Maybe he's from the local government. Aina, sit down. It's Mr. Aldrich. He wants to ask you a few questions. Boss looks both angry and worried. Do you know why you are here? I do. Tell us. I went down to temporary holding cells and tried to carry out an interrogation, and then I opened the cell with the man we arrested. Why did you do it? Something was wrong with him. Well, it turned out to be just pretense. I feel awkward under the strange mocking gaze. He pushed me, I hit my head and passed out. I can't stop myself from touching my head. The official joins the conversation. What happened when you came back to your sense? I ran outside and I saw a patrolman. I described the escapee to them. Was he found? Alderich smiles tauntily. He was dead. I look at Becker in horror. The patrolman saw someone killing our escapee, but that person ran away. Can it be the murder we are looking for? We can't be sure of anything right now, and I must point out that it's the last thing that should be worrying you. What do you mean? I really don't like this man. It almost looks like he finds the situation pleasing. You have missed a important suspect. More than that, he escaped thanks to your professionalism. I heard that even half-elves are much more quick and idle than humans. How is that you were unable to deal with a weakened and exhausted man? That wasn't the case. Plus, he was very strong when he pushed me. Unnaturally strong. Are you sure about this? Of course I am. But you were not there. And if he was as weak as you say, and I'm strong as you say, why is it me who has a terrible headache and overwhelming urge to throw right now? A new flash of pain makes me hiss and touch my forehead involuntarily. What's your tone? I'm perfectly aware that I made a mistake. Yes, I let the suspect loose, but it doesn't give you any right to use my failure as an excuse to taunt me and mention my race. I'm torn by the feelings of guilt and irritation. I'm sure I will regret my words, but I won't let this person entertain himself on my behalf. Aina, I look up at Burkhardt, who's been quiet so far. Did you manage to find out something new from the suspect? No. Even if he knew something, the only thing he said was nonsense. I doubt that his statement would have helped the investigation. That may be so, but it doesn't lessen the fact that you let him slip away. I throw an angry glance at Alderich, but he ignores it. After all, it's me who's at fault, not him. They ask me a few more questions and I answer with poorly suppressed annoyance either with the official behavior or with the headache. I guess that will be all. Alderich stands up naughtily and puts his folder under his arm. Apparently. Well, I will leave the rest of the proceeding with the subordinate to you, Burkhardt. After saying this phrase with a noticeable stress on the last word, he walks out of the office without even saying goodbye. I'm hesitant about raising my eyes to look at the boss. With Alderich gone, irritated drained out of me, leaving only shame. You have no idea how deep in shit we are right now. I stare at the boss in surprise. I never heard that kind of expression from him on duty. This man, Alderich, is from the ministry, and is a huge pain in the ass. And trust me, he'll paint your failure in the brightest possible colors, so I can just leave you without an appropriate punishment. But I'm really at fault. I know, but I also pay attention to all of those circumstances, and our gangly friend didn't trouble himself with it. He's really outraged with the fact that the ministry let me, not him, deal with you. I guess I should be glad about this turn of events. So much attention. Burkhardt sides. We are under pressure. This investigation caused a lot of trouble, and now the Iger freaks out of every time we make a mistake. Which is why his voice grows firmer. You and Raym must be especially attentive, and don't let issues like this one happen again. One more mistake and I won't be able to protect you. You can go for today. Go home and check the bump on your head just in case. We'll talk about your punishment later. I leave the office hastily and hide in our shoebox. I wish this day would end sooner. As if. Ouch! Aina, just admit it. You want me dead. Right now the only thing I want is to lock up at my place and not see the sunshine. I only approve of that. Oh, right. This is for you. He gives me a paper bag. What's that? Incense. They calm nerves and soothe the pain. I think you need them today. Leo's inability to talk about touchy subjects is what I need right now. I'm glad that he just shows that he cares about me without raising the topic unpleasant to me. Thank you. I didn't expect that. I will offer you a salve, but I guess it will be inconvenient and it will get all over you. You know what I mean. I smile with genuine fondness I'll never guess that it could wake so many positive emotions in me. They let you go home, right? Berka isn't cruel enough to make you stay here in that sort of state, is he? Yes, they let me go home. Nice. I need to go, and you be sure to burn the incense when you get to your place. I will. Thanks, Leo. He smiles with satisfaction and walks away. The frosty air has a refreshing effect on me, and I remember that I've spent a whole day in the department. When this is all over, I'll need a vacation. If we manage to close this case, of course. I haven't got any more confident about in the last few days. Well, what should I do now? I feel totally lost as soon as I walk out of the building where I work. It's morning, so my usual daily schedule is broken, and I don't know what to do with myself. My head is still aching terribly, and it won't get any better in the next few days, I'm afraid. Well, at least now I can. I look around the street, glance at the buildings and the stairs, and stop my eyes at the roof. I won't tell him about it. He will laugh at me. After walking up the outside stairs, I jump onto the railing and then make a nimble leap to the roof of the second floor. Unlike the capital, there are barely any tall buildings in this town, so I have to be content with this one. The roof is slippery and I'm not in the most suitable shoes, but my elven origin compensates for it, so I carefully climb higher, shake off the snow and sit down. I don't think I'll stay here for long, but I'll refresh my head a little at least. Plus, a view opens in front of me, maybe not the most breathtaking one, but still. The recent events flash through my mind, and I sighed waverly. And why is everything changing for the worse? In addition to everything, a feeling of guilt is eating me from within. I close my eyes, listening to the sound of the town. For some reason, the noise of the urban hustle and bustle calms me, and a dreamy feeling causes a pang in my chest. I want to run somewhere as well, to get some food in a small store or to open a store of my own. I want to be somewhere far away, anywhere but here. I sighed, it's my first case, and I'm falling to pieces. Anyway, pull yourself together and don't whine. My thoughts bring me back to the investigation. What was it the arrested man talking about yesterday? About the magic of light, I presume? Too bad it didn't help him at all. Although if even an elfin half-blood can't awaken these powers with me, I've been even less lucky at that. Elves use their magic for a spiritual balance, both their own and everyone around them. Even if my power is awakening, I didn't notice it at all. Just like Melissa couldn't notice what exactly helped her to create a garden in her apartment. There are other, far more important things though. For example, how did the fortune teller know about my connection with the magic of light? It's nearly impossible to tell that I'm half-blood of the elves of light by my ears. After all, there are many other kinds of elves. And he could have guessed it even less if I belonged to another race. But nevertheless, he noticed it somehow. And I still can't shake off the feeling that this meeting had some purpose. But what could it be? Gradually the headache lessens and I feel a bit better, although I'm still on the verge of collapsing from fatigue. I keep sitting on the roof for a while until the noise below gets really loud and I begin to get too cold. It takes me a long time to get myself in order and freshen up. After a hot bath and tea, I feel much better. Rest is an important part of productive work after all, and I shouldn't forget about it. Plus, the night on the battered sofa in the apartment clearly didn't do anything to contribute to my good health. I try not to think about anything. I sit down on the floor of my tiny apartment and lay my tools and a small block of wood in front of me. For the next few hours, I'm carving a figurine of a wolf howling at the moon. What made me randomly think of this design, I wonder? What can it possibly mean? Danger? Loneliness? I look around, complete alone, in a small empty apartment with my head stuffed full of gloomy thoughts. The figure looks nice. I'm surprised that my hands still remember the craft. But the association ended up being quite weird. I didn't even plan to make this wolf. Why did I even latch onto it? It's just a figurine. With a sigh, I gather the tools, throw the wood chips away and put the figurine on the table. I turn it towards the windows to face the moon. Howl over there. The day ends in the usual solitude and I go to sleep. I'm in a corridor. It's so dark that it's impossible for me to make out anything, but I'm sure it's a corridor. For some reason, I'm feeling that it's Walls are pressing on me, so I have no doubt about where I am. I turn to wall, my footsteps make a soft sound, as if I'm walking on a carpet. It feels like my hand will brush against paintings if I decide to reach toward the supposed wall, as if I'm walking down the corridor of a mansion or a hotel. But I have no desire to reach out into the darkness and check. I walk thinking that nothing will end up happening here, but my hearing catches a sound approaching me. At first it reminds me of a fluttering of leaves, but soon I can pick out other sounds too as it gets closer. Is it a whisper? Many voices speaking in a language unknown to me. Suddenly I feel an unrealistic fear. It's as if the walls I still can't see are pressing down on me from both sides, and the rising sounds feel like some kind of huge monster inexorably moving towards me. And if I keep standing here and waiting for it, it will simply crush me. I start running away, or at least I think I am, but it seems like my steps sound just as muffled as before. The sound comes closer, and I don't think I'll be able to outrun it anymore. I thought of light blink somewhere far ahead of me, so quick that I don't really believe my eyes, but then it blinks once more. Not feeling my body and not understanding where I am, I still try to run faster, with the dot as my beacon. The whisper grows louder as it moves closer and closer. Run, run from it. The dot is so far away that I know I won't be able to reach it. This whisper, it almost feels like it's pushing its way into my head, breaking my will. So run away from it. I run on, and when it feels like the whisper is right at my heels, I wake up. I open my eyes wide at once, and seeing nothing but the darkness, I think that I am still in the corridor. Everything is quiet around me though, and when my vision gets accustomed to the gloom, I can make out the features of my room. I let out the sight of relief, but stop short. What was I so scared of? It was just a dream, right? Stupid, weird, frightening dream. Wrapping the blanket around me tighter, I turn to another side and fall asleep at once. I can't see the corridor anymore. I start the day with an unwavering desire to go to work. Even after the terrible night, I don't feel too bad, and my head hurts less. A day of rest helped after all, even just a little bit. Besides, I feel restless about the murder of the man we arrested. There must be an autopsy by now. I dare anyone to try and send me back home, which will be expected considering how pale my face is. I don't look like much, but I intend to work anyway. My conscience will devour me if I skip another day and the case doesn't budge. It's not like I don't trust Raymond's abilities. I just have the feeling that the world will stop turning without my involvement. After convincing myself, I gather my stuff and go to the department. Without even taking my coat off, I grab Raymond by the arm and drag him after me to the basement. Even though he's protesting desperately, I really need a clear view from someone who wasn't hit on the head recently. Okay, but that dream was kinda weird. What a nice company. I didn't expect you to honor me with your presence, kitty cat. I'm here only because Anna asked me. Well, clearly not because of your love for my humble person. Leo shifts his gaze onto me. How are you feeling, dear? Amazing and ready for work. I'll argue about the amazing part, but whatever you say. I guess you are here because of the fresh dead man. Exactly. He sighs theatrically. What a pity that everybody is led to me only by death. Raymond holds his eyes. So, our victim is definitely not a part of the murder's cunning plan. He has only one wound on his neck, and besides, the magic is still in his body. The patrol interrupted him. Maybe he just had no time to continue? I don't think so. It's very doubtful that you'll miss a factor like patrol. Plus, there is one little problem. It's magic. It's not quite pure. What do you mean by that? The magic of Outbloods can't be really called pure as it is. That's right, but if I had to compare with a cocktail, the thing he has is some murky water. It's as if the murderer opened a spoiled jar of preserves and decided not to bother himself. So now the victims are preserves. Maybe he just made a mistake. It's difficult to say for sure, but I examined our new acquaintance's body. If we base on our conclusions of him only on his behavior, he's insane. But his organs, teeth, and hair don't look too bad. They don't match his act of a senile homeless man. So if this man has gone crazy, it wasn't too long ago, and very quickly, which happens very rarely, or I would even say never. I found and browsed through the details of the case in my mind. Something's wrong here. Something's wrong with the victims. Melissa was around the rooms. Clea was obsessed with the new project. Bernard? Leia and Raymond shrugged. No one was looking for her, so there is nothing to say about her. What about her apartment? Did anyone search through it? She didn't have a permanent residence. There was a time when she rented an apartment in the area where we talked to the witness, but usually she spent her time in another place. Damn. But nevertheless, the victims were obsessed in one way or another. But no one else was the same as our dead friend here. Something must have gone wrong then, and it looked like the murder plans out these killings. Drives the victim mad? He has self-interest abilities. Why would he do that though? I'll be sure to ask him about when I meet him. Then again, we don't have enough data about Bernard to make these conclusions. So we need to get the data. I doubt that she left no clues at all. Where was she spending most of her time? At the outskirts of the town, in one of the old abandoned buildings. Oof, that's a rotten place. Very suited for people like Bernard. I throw a surprised glance at him. He just shrugs a guilty to it. What else can I say? I often go there to get the bodies of homeless people and other shady social elements. Fights, murders, illness, overdose. I know where it is. Don't even think about it. We'll go together. I have a question though. Why didn't anyone look into sooner? Are you joking? Who would want that? Plus there were no other victims back then. Leo looks at me and Remo in turns. Are you serious about going there? Just the two of you? What's wrong with that? Have you ever been there? Well, no. It's a place where guardians of order rarely set a foot. An investigator and a half will be sticking out like a sore thumb. An investigator and an half? Anna's trauma hasn't healed yet, and she's still pale. I won't let you go anywhere in this shape, you know? I told you I'm fine. Until the first shake-up, no, I'll go with you. You? Why are you so surprised, my tailored friend? I visit that area with a team of medics frequently, so I'll know the place we should go to. And you two are very suspicious, so the locals will never talk to you, and you'll never find Bernard's cozy corner. You are politeness personified. Why, of course, but you must agree that there is a grain of rationality in it. Remo twitched his tail in irritation, while I find Leo offer useful. Remo is right. You and I will either find nothing or run into trouble. My part always sides heavily in defeat, and Leo beams victoriously. I feel a slight ping of enthusiasm. We might never made any progress if not for the death of the would-be fortune teller. And I'm confident that we'll find something for sure. Okay, we go to a place that is only homeless people. Sure enough, it's a rotten place, just like I was told. Remo keeps a gloomy silence, and Leo is questioning the locals about Burnett. And with every new fragrance, I grow more and more convinced that if it were just Remo and I, our chance to find anything at all will be equal to zero. I don't even mention the unfriendly looks we get. In the end, everything leads us to an abandoned building. It's just a romantic atmosphere, don't you think? The stench of mold, ship, alcohol, and something rancid fills my nostrils at once. I don't want to be at this place at all, let alone to conduct a search here. Usually somebody stays here for the night or starts alcohol-fueled parties, after which I take fresh corpse out of here. That's where Bernard was hanging around. As I said before, the patrols never bother with this area. If that's the case, my question about why no one examined her accommodation was very naive. Well, let's look around. This building is big, let's split? Alright, you are going alone, I will be with Anna. Why is that? Our team is an investigator and a half and a defenseless pathologist. Do you want to leave me to my fate? Or will you go with me and Anna will be walking around all alone? Okay, we won't be splitting. It's so sweet, Kitty Cat cares so much about his partner. Don't push me, Blondie. It's as if Leo ignores him, yet again. What are we even looking for? Anything that's standing out in comparison with surroundings. I will say that everything in here suits the description. You know what I mean? Okay, mind your step though, the floor might just fall apart. As we were looking through every room, my understanding of how people could spend their nights here lessons. The house is old, drafts are everywhere, the roof fell through in place. This building could crash on someone head any minute. Almost at once, I feel happy about wearing gloves, which will need to be washed multiple times after this search. It's weird. Why is this place so empty? We haven't even met anyone here. That's a good question. I expect us to have some company, but no one's been here for a while. He nods at the bottles covered in snow. I have the impression that the house has been empty for at least a few weeks. That's for the best. If Bernard left something here, we'll find it. If she left something, it's unlike that she drew in albums like Melissa. Or wrote. I'm not sure she knew how to do that in the first place. Maybe she did. I mean, she rented an apartment, which means that she tried to get out of here. But she didn't get out in the end. People don't just cast those kind of habits aside. You are so cruel. You don't even give her a chance. A chance? All of those people in these slums had a chance. They didn't do it by choice. But there are different circumstances. You can't be so categorical. Let those who old soul hurts for these vagrants help them. I don't have to even commiserate them. I didn't know that you are so heartless, kitty cat. As I said, I look around, getting distracted from their conversation. My eyes wander over the dirty floor, the walls that have nothing on them but graffitis consisting of swear words and iffy drawings. The walls. Maybe Burnett didn't have any albums, but she had walls. Maybe I'm wrong, but Leo and Raymond continue their argument, and I start looking close at scribbles, hoping to see something like runes among them. I never thought that I would wish to see them. A sharp pang of pain hits me in the head, and I rub my forehead involuntarily. Taking the aromas of this place into account, it's a surprise that the headache is beginning only now. I fumble along the wall, walking further and further away from my companions. There must be something. A movement in the corner of the room among the heap of planks and rags catch my eye. Maybe a rat is looking for some food? I wouldn't count on much if I was that rat though. The hustling grows louder, something falls, and I don't think it's a rat anymore. I turn towards the corner of the room and freeze, watching it closely. It's very difficult to get myself oriented in this dim light, but my eyes gradually become accustomed to it. I move close to the noise, walking as quiet as I can, even though everything is calm right now. Maybe it was a rat after all? But the planks suddenly fly in all directions, and a person in rags dashes towards me. A woman with a mad and frightened eyes tries to grab me by the shoulders, but I dodge and jump to the side. Leave me alone! Leave me be! She rushes to me again. I dive down and cause her to stumble. The woman rolls and hits the wall hard. It must hurt, but it doesn't look like she resists anything. She jumps up to her feet and runs to me with an insane shriek, waving her arms. Leave me! Go away! But you did nothing to you. It's not like she hears me though. She makes another futile attempt to grab me. My companions hear the noise and come to help. Leo stares at the woman with his eyes wide, and Remo, without thinking much, leaps to the woman and tries to catch her, but she slinks away with a surprising dexterity. Stop whispering! Stop talking to me! Leave! She does attack this time, running to another room instead. Remo chases her. It takes Leo some effort to break out of the shocked state. What was that? Where did she come from? I slap the dirt off my pants. Yeah, I will definitely have to wash all of my clothes after this small excursion. She was hiding over there. I wave at the disintegrated heap and almost gasp at what I see there. Is that it? I run to the wall at once. Another rush of pain, so strong that my vision unfolds, and I have to squint to see what one on the wall. The runes, small ones and big ones, painted ones and carved ones, the lines are sharp and angular. It's not a surprise the wall was hidden behind garbage, but why was that woman hiding here? And for some reason, this, not quite empty building doesn't look strange to me for now. Irritated Rain comes back to us. She ran away, dove into some alley. I try not to chase her further. There's no need, really. She's just a local lunatic. Rain shifts his gaze at me and then at the wall. Huh? Are those runes? I feel a slight nausea when I peer into the mystical patterns. A lump rises in my throat, my eyesight grows dim. Aina, what's wrong? I don't know. My head is acting up, I guess. There's a humming in my ears. It's so loud that I can't hear Remo and Leo. The sound gradually turns into a familiar whisper, and memories of the nightmare begin to fill my head. But there is no dot of light this time, no inner voice. The only sound is the sound of the malicious whisper. As if feeling how defenseless I am, it grows louder with sickening tempo, trying to drown out all the other sounds. And at the point when I feel like I'm about to clasp my head and scream, everything quiets down. I look around fearfully, and it doesn't remain unnoticed by my companions. Hey, are you okay? I think so. What just happened to you? I don't know. My head ached and there was humming in my ears. Don't worry, I'm fine now. You should go outside. In a place like this, anyone will go crazy. But we found everything we wanted to find, which is the confirmation of burnout obsession. Now, out to the fresh air. Chop chop. I have to agree with Blondie. Ray takes me by the arm on one side, Leo on the other, and we walk out. Leaving the godforsaken place is the best possible decision, but I have an anxious feeling that I can't shake off. Just the way warmth left Melissa home, people left that abandoned building a long time ago, and something tells me that the ruins are at fault. And that woman shouted something about the whisper. Can it be that we heard the same thing? So I feel much better as soon as we come back to a familiar area. The memories of the feels that overwhelm me vanish as if they weren't even there. It's safe to say that our murder is a dark mage. This news doesn't make anything easier, although I can't say it's a surprise. I would be surprised if I were you. No mage has this sort of power. Let him clear something up. The victims go mad and become obsessed with these symbols, whatever they are. Besides, you two knew Melissa well. Did she show any signs of her obsession? I don't even need to strain my memory. There was nothing like that. Something clearly went wrong with the last guy, so the murder just disposed of him. You won't count that. I just want to say that nobody is able to do that. But our culprit is most definitely a woman or, well, of some other race. Leo cringed in a displeased way and folds his arms on his chest. He's just not a maniac. He actually has some sort of a purpose, but it's impossible to say what it is, especially taking into account that the runes are indecipherable. And I don't like it. The result of it can be anything really. That woman, I wonder what's wrong with her. Raymond shrugs. She's just nuts? There are plenty of crazy people there. No, I don't know. Leo looked at me curiously. Did you notice something in her? I imagine the way our dialogue will continue. You know, guys, I had a dream with some whisper in it, and that woman was talking about the whisper too. Coincidence? I don't think so. That will sure end with me being dismissed and sent back to home to heal my injury. I shake my head. No, it's just so weird that she was sitting there right next to the ruins, even though the building has been empty for a long time. I told you, she's a nutcase. Leo throws a doubtful glance at me, but doesn't push any further. Okay, let's go back to work. I'll turn into a icicle if I don't drink some hot tea soon. We head back to the apartment, and I see a familiar face out of the corner of my eye. A wave of outrage crashed over me. What is doing here? Who are you talking about? Aldrich. I just saw him. Oh, right, you don't know about it. He started dropping by for a visit now. To our office too. I wish you saw that smug-faced office when Burkhardt told him about the details of the case. Is he an investigator? Won't he make it through without him? The higher-ups want to control everything, so to speak. It's nonsense. Is it the first time ever when a criminal escaped? It's not that simple, kids. Raymond and I turned to stare at Leo in sync. He just sighs. You weren't here when Burkhardt was made the boss, and trust me, you have hardly been hired by anybody here with the previous chief around. I think you are perfectly aware of the fact how hard it is for half-bloods and sometimes even poor-bloods to find a good job. We nod with understanding. Burkhardt doesn't give a damn about your race, he just employs staff. And people like Aldrich don't like it much. Don't ask me why. I don't know how the minds of racists work. By the way, I heard that he opposed Burkhardt promotion, but it's just a rumor. As for the rest, how shall I put it? A department employee is killed, another employee let a suspect escape, plus we haven't got any closer to the murder. Aldrich will sink his teeth into any of these issues with a death grip in high hopes of destroying Burkhardt's career. Even though it's only my opinion. It's impossible not to notice is this then. I bet was on cloud 9 when he got the chance to ruin our boss life. Why would he want that though? Out of a personal dislike? Is this only reasoning? I think there is something else. Maybe Outreach is trying to please some officials. I doubt you'll even more move a finger otherwise. So now it can be put that way, yes. You'll do everything to find something to criticize. Not like you'll need much for it, huh? Especially when there's plenty of things to criticize. I rub my temples tirely. So we end up screwing Packard over. I will say that it's the murderer who does the screwing over. But it won't calm your conscience, am I right? I'll calm down only when I catch that bastard. Yeah, that's all we needed. An aggressive person breathing down our necks, as if this case hasn't been discouraging already. I need to go to Berka and show him this new information. After walking quickly through the corridor, I reach the door to his office, but as soon as I raise my hand to knock, I can hear muffled angry voice through it. I recognize them both at once, Aldrich and Berkard. As I've already said, no one asked you to get involved in the investigation. How was I supposed to evaluate the work of your employees otherwise? Although a brief glance is enough to see that they are barely capable. It's a complicated case, and you are just covering your attitude towards me by lashing out on my investigators. They are doing everything they can. Indeed, especially when they let the suspect run loose. Or shall I remind you that even your secretary became the victim of the murder? I am too responsible for the runaway. I escort all my staff members home after work. What happened to Melissa was terrible, but we couldn't have foreseen it. It's so nice that you have an excuse for everything, isn't it? Becker's voice becomes low and threatening, but Aldrich isn't fazed by it. It's awkward to stand here and eavesdrop on them. I should go away, but I can't. I repeat again, your personal attitude shouldn't affect conclusions you make. My personal attitude, as you put it, isn't groundless, and you, Berkard, are perfectly aware of it. If you like to think so. I can hear quick steps, so I jump away from the door and pretend that I'm just getting near the office. Aldrich sneers when he sees me. Oh, I guess your injury wasn't all that serious, since it seems you are back at work already. I know. I suppress irritation. Why must this man cling to every detail? I just can't sit home while the criminal is on the run, and I'm feeling better. Lovely, I hope your work won't take a hit. He jerks his chin up, self-righteously, and marches past me. What a buffoon he is. I enter the office. Berka is rubbing his temples entirely, but noticing me, nodding greeting. Hi, how are you feeling? Better, steady on my feet, or so it seems. I heard that you had fits of pain. Leo has babbled everything out already. Now our department has two mother hands. Nothing serious, everything is fine. Berkard nods. I guess he's so drained after meeting with Aldrich that he'll agree to anything. Is that person here for long? Either until he kicks me out of this office or until we find the criminal. I will say the first option is the right one. The criminal clearly interests him, at least I'll fall. Doesn't he realize that he might hinder the investigation? Once again, he doesn't care, as you might have noticed. Aldrich is a racist. Deaths of all bloods don't interrupt his good night's sleep. The most unpleasant thing is that we have absolutely nothing to defend ourselves with. Everything squeezed tight inside of me. I'm weighted down both my feelings of guilt towards Berkard and by the feeling of responsibility for the investigation. And meanwhile, everyone tells me to go home and heal my injury. I sigh and do my best to pull myself together. I can't get all sappy, especially now. Berkard and I discussed the latest news. He barely suppressed his overwhelming caring impulse when I mentioned the crazy woman. This conversation, in addition to everything else that's happened, makes him ponder. Now I'm perfectly confident that the victims were obsessed, and it's clear that the criminal is the cause of their madness. The situation gets more complicated. If we are opposed by Dark Mage, we need some extra specialists. It will be problematic to make an inquiry for them though. He catch my questioning look. Aldrich. Any and all inquiries must go through him now, which means that I'll have to convince him that. Berkard sides. Anyway, it will be difficult talk, and I can't guarantee that it will result in our success. I can feel rage boiling in me. That man creates problem for us, and then savors the results of his labors. He doesn't even care if we catch the criminal or not, he just wants to get rid of Berkard and suck everyone whose shape of ears or skin color doesn't match humans. I bowed my fist, saying nothing, but Berkard noticed how tense I am anyway. I'll do everything within my power. Maybe I'll be able to talk to the higher-ups directly without outreach involvement. He doesn't mention that it won't be easy to accomplish, but I nod, even though I don't really believe in the success of this venture. Deciding that I need to distract myself from the pile-up difficulties from time to time, I go to the bookstore on my way home and buy a couple of romantic novels. It might be best for me to focus on something simple, light-hearted and pleasant right now. I get comfortable on the bed and start reading. The problem is that the pretentious phrase languid woman oaths of heroic deeds tire me quickly and I fall asleep. The corridor again, or at least I think of this place as a corridor. Only this time the ominous wisp starts approaching me at once. I don't wait for it to reach me and rush in the opposite direction. The dot appears in the distance again, it's brighter than last time, but still unreachable. It seems that the whisper is approaching me faster. I try to accelerate, but it almost feels like my feet and legs get sucked into a bog as the bright dot keeps moving away restlessly. I am pulled back by an unknown force, shrouded in strangling darkness. I wake up feeling that I'm suffocating and try to catch my breath. This stupid dream again. I look at myself all over. I didn't even undress, and it's the middle of the night. With a sigh I mean to put the book away, but when I look at it, I see that its pages are torn, as if I was ripping them with my fingers in my sleep. Well, no, this book wasn't that bad. My awkward joke doesn't make the atmosphere less gloomy. My throat suddenly feels dry. Why am I so scared? It was barely a bad dream. I got nervous and tore the page mechanically. Nothing awful happened, right? Right? In that case, why doesn't the feeling of something terrible happening leave me? And why am I not telling anyone about this? Because this is nonsense. Nothing is happening. There is not even a hint of confidence in my voice though. I undress quickly and dive into bed, leaving only the very top of my head poking from under the blanket, with the book tossed across the room. Surprisingly enough, I wake up very vigorous, and the events of the night seem decent to me and is if they had not happened to me. Who cares about what happened in dreams anyway? The pressing problems are more important right now. The investigation, the murders, outreach. I wince at the thought of the latter. Yeah, it's the only thing we could possibly wish for in this mess. Yes, I heard from the colleagues that he pokes his nose into their affairs as well, and of course everyone finds it annoying. The most unpleasant thing is that he's ready to cling to any nuisance. How long has this snake been waiting for an opportunity to pester Becker, I wonder? It's a shame, but I feel guilty because of this, although technically I understand that Aldrich could have found any reason, even without my mistakes. These murders themselves are reason enough. Alright, there's no time to get mopey. Now we need to do what must be done. For the next few days, nothing happens. At all, absolute zero. Not that we are waiting for the murder's next move, but the silence gets on everyone's nerves. Did he do what he wanted to do, or does his probable ritual continue, or is he hiding and waiting for something? Aldrich doesn't waste time either. He constantly nearby, throwing malicious comments and hinting that the murderer might have escaped by now. And we have nothing, no trace, no prints, only bodies and runes in unknown language. All this time I want to offer Aldrich to try and catch the culprit with this meager set himself, even though I understand that is not his job. What is his job then? To annoy and irritate people? Judging by what he's doing, yes. Raymond's tail is lashing in an upset manner. Not too long ago, Aldrich paid us a visit and my partner barely stopped himself from kicking him out. You are kind of quiet lately. Me? You don't joke anymore, you haven't even been fiddling with the feathers. I thought it ticks you off when I get struck with them. It does, but I was used to it at least, and now it's as if you are different. It's winter, I like vitamins, I'm not in the mood, take a peek. Anyway, don't worry about it. So what are we going to do now? What we used to do before? Move forward from one spot to another, wander around the precinct, annoy our colleagues, sit on the couch. You are clearly a professional in that last bit. Raymond stretched across the sofa with an air of importance. No, I think there's still space for improvement. Well, anyway, I'll go move some folders and wander around the precinct, as you have put it, and annoy the colleagues. I'll leave that to you. You'll get bored of lying on the sofa in the end. And I'll walk out the office, taking some documents with me. A familiar face appears on the horizon, erasing every hint of good mood I had just moments before. Talking to that person is the last thing I would like to do right now, so I would prefer to try and pretend that I didn't notice him. He's heading straight towards me, though, with the trademark sneer on his face. Suppressing annoyance once again, I do my best to speak as calmly as I can. Did you want something? I would like to ask about your elf. Judging by your face, I will say you aren't even a bit worried. It's more likely that you are happy. I'm fine. I am not. Is that so? Good to hear. He keeps smiling, and this fact starts playing on my nerves. I sighed. What do you want, really? As I say, I just want to know about your condition. After all, if your elf declines, you won't be able to work, and the murder will escape. Although I already see that investigation is stalled for good. The criminal might have gone into hiding already. Don't you think so? There is no reason for us to think so. Really? I thought that you don't have enough understanding of criminals' behavior to be this confident about it. He might strike again at any time, and you don't even have the clues that will help to prevent it. What do you want from me then? Nothing. I'm just warning you. Warning? His smile grows even wider. He really knows how to enjoy the situation. Exactly. I just want to say that Bertrand can cover up for you for now, but it's within my power to take this marvelous privilege away from you. Bertrand isn't covering for us. He's doing his job just like we are. Why are you threatening me? Excuse me, but I'm not threatening you at all. I'm just saying that everything can change at any moment, and you should be prepared for it. Speak of which, I'll get a hold on you as well in time. Criminal negligence, inability to investigate a case, homeless at work, there are many options. Some ways to intimidate me. I can bet that you will fire me for a folder being put on the wrong shelf, let alone for anything more than that. Do you hate Bertram so much that you are ready to ruin our investigation? Don't you care about the victims at all? Ruin your investigation? Is there anything to ruin? It doesn't look like you got made any progress. And don't tell me that it's a difficult case. I've heard enough of that from your boss. You didn't answer my question. He wasn't going to answer it to begin with. With a irksome snarl, Aldrich marched past me to mind his own clearly extremely important business. He's so annoying. He acts here like a king, no less. And the main problem is that he's ready to smash everything here to satisfy his ambitions and principles. I go down to the basement to see Leo, plus he asked me to drop by anyway. He hasn't been in the best mood recently, and I think I know why. Overseeing me, he tries to smile hospitably. Hey Nam, the first pleasant face today. Did Aldrich pay a visit to you too? Pfft, he's scurrying around like a rat, looking for stuff to pick at. I guess every new note in his notebook makes him happier. Does he think that's nice when someone is literally watching you over your shoulder? Thankfully, his fragile nervous system caved in when I started an autopsy. Speaking of which, I was called to the area where we and the kitty cat were not too long ago. I think you still remember it perfectly well. My inside turned into ice. Not a new victim, I hope? It's hard to tell. I'll better show you. We go to the autopsy table with a body on it, and when Leo throws the sheet covering it aside, I instantly recognize the woman who attacked me in the building. I mean, to talk but stop and look closer. There doesn't appear to be any wounds in the style of murders on her body, but there is something else instead. Did she do it to herself? I suppose. The body of the woman is covered in cuts, which form something that seems remotely similar to runes. What did she die of? She bled to death, and judging by the general state of her body, she barely ate or drank anything for the last few days. Just like our crazy guy from the celebration. Yes and no. This woman, whatever her name is a woman, and there is no magic in her at all. And if the previous sign united them, this one definitely doesn't. What could possibly have happened to her then? Do you remember what state she was in when she attacked you? She was not out of her mind. Say something weird screaming. I will presume that the reason for that building being deserted and the cause of this woman inside are the same. Maybe she wasn't of a sound mind initially, and the presence of the runes only made it worse. How can drownings drive people mad? Usually they can't, but we don't know what they are and why the victims were drowning them. I was a bit shocked during our tour. What was she screaming? Leave me alone, stop whispering, something like that. Leia nods with ponderous face. I won't want to judge. I wouldn't want to just guess blindly without any proof in hand, but better just say what you think. I doubt that Parker will manage to get signed up the special group of mages to our case while you know who is here. Alright, but I still hope that I'm wrong. Let's sum it up. We don't know what language it is, right? But we know that all the victims were obsessed with these runes and drew them, or drew something different, but were obsessed with it. Additionally, the runes can affect nearby people, proven by the case with this woman. There were no runes on the walls of Melissa's apartment, but it's still vacant, you know. No one else has rented it. It doesn't really tell us anything, but I have to mention it. What about Aclea? Leia shrugs. Maybe we should visit his father again, just to be sure, but let's continue. I want to say that this whole story looks awful and seems unsolvable, but I dare to presume that it involves some kind of ancient beings. Spirits, entities, dark force, whatever else is there. I don't think I can be more specific than that. Noticing my incredible look, he keeps talking hastily. I'm just basing my judgment on the things I hear and see. Both magic and the language involved, I don't know. It's likely that the murderer is carrying out a ritual. That's what I'm getting. If something affects people, it might affect the murder as well. But I can't say anything for sure. I'm just trying to think logically. If that's the case, why didn't you ask Raymond to come here with me? He's a cat, he could have sensed something. Did he sense anything before? Did he mention it to you? Even back in that cursed house? What are you hitting at? He shakes his head. Nothing for now. I already say enough to look like a lunatic, although people have always seemed like that. I ponder. I don't doubt Raymond's ability. His sense helped us many times, but right now it seems like they are turned off. And I didn't pay any attention to it. There's no way of finding out the meaning behind it though. I walk along the corners of the park, my head full of different thoughts. Start with the fact that we have Aldrich as a threat and ending with a possibility of us opposing some sort of creature by my partner has probably been quiet about. I can't just go to him and say, hey, Raymond, would you like to tell me why we are keeping secrets from me and who has been turning people insane left and right? Plus, I have nightmares and tear books in my sleep, but tell no one about it. I cover my face with my hands. I have no idea what's going on and what to do about it. Maybe we should visit his father again, just to be sure. Realize that I can't stay cooped up at work anyway. I gather my things and go to Mr. Mercer's house. Alone, without Raymond. I know that Leo's assumption doesn't really mean anything, but for some reason I feel the urge to manage without my partner now. And anyway, he was sleeping on the couch and didn't even notice me grabbing my coat and running away. So maybe Raymond is hiding something? I don't think he's the murderer, but I think he's hiding something. I have to knock a few times, and when I decide that Mr. Mercer isn't at home, clumsy footsteps and sounds of something crashing on the other side of the door tells me that he was asleep. In the middle of the day? Why not tall? The door opens and the black face of Mr. Mercer pushes through the gap. He squints into the bright light and peers at my face for a while. I almost think that he has forgotten me. Ah, that's you again. The man looks terrible, as if his sudden death tore off all his brakes. I doubt he's been sober even for a day recently. I could try to tie up the runes affecting him this way, but Mercer was a drinker before too. What do you want? I'm so stirred with the way he looks that I forget the purpose of my visit for a bit, but I get a grip on myself quickly. True, Aclea didn't draw on the walls, but he drew in his albums instead. To be honest, I have no desire to enter his house at all, but I felt much worse on the outskirts. Mr. Mercer, may I take a look at your son's drawings? The man suddenly winks and shakes his head. I burned them, every last one. But why? I don't know, they were bad. Bad? Back when he was alive, they were bad already. I couldn't even walk into his room, I didn't want to. And when he was killed, it got really bad, you know? And those drawings? Did you look closely at them? Were there any symbols you didn't know? Mercer steps back with a squeamish look, as if I say something disgusting. No, I didn't look at them, I just burned them. And even their smoke was bad, it twirled into a scrawl, it scared me. He mumbled something incoherent, twitched and looked at me if this is the first time he has seen me. Is that all, Miss Investigator? As you can see, I'll nothing in here. Yes, sorry for troubling you. As soon as I say it, he slams the door shut in front of me. Nice. So good that I looked the polypic the last time I was here. I can't remember seeing any runes on it, but it's a clay last project after all. I doubt there was anything more recent than that. So it was that simple. He just burned everything, and I can't even explain why he did that. Bad. What did he mean by bad? Did he sense something? Did he hear the whisper? Can I even trust the words of a man who was sober recently only on the day of his son's death, and not for too long, or so it seems? I rub my temples. The headache always appears as the day goes on. I should go back to work and grab something to eat on my way there. Maybe food will energize me, or a bucket of strong tea. When I come back to the office, Remy is still dozing. Unlike me, he doesn't look troubled by anything at all. It's highly possible that he didn't even notice my short absence. I take a closer look at the polyptic as soon as I take my coat off. There are no runes here, but why does it feel like it's supposed to mean something? I hope I'll find an answer to this question when my head stops acting like a volcano. I mean to get to work, but everything suddenly blurs in front of me. I freeze, trying to calm down. I wait until everything comes back to normal, but my vision dims, the world tilts, and I fall with a dull thud, hearing Rame's voice somewhere in the distance. I'm lying on that goddamn couch again, and my head feels like it's about to explode with pain again. To be frank, it's practically my normal state by now. Darn, when will it end already? Thankfully, even though I fell, no more damage was inflicted on my head. This is also annoying. Later, a medic visits me, and after short examination, insists that I need to go to home to get some rest. Feeling drained due to recent lack of sleep in addition to everything else, I don't argue and start packing. My gaze falls onto the cabinet with beverage, which I haven't opened since the time when I hid Melissa's diary there. The diary, I haven't read it yet. Without thinking twice, open the cabinet, take a small book and hide it in my bag. I have no time for it before, but maybe now I'll be able to study it at home. Luckily, my partner is out of the office at the moment. I can hear him's voice outside the office, eagerly questioning the medic. Guess he doesn't trust me at all, since it doesn't look like he's going to discuss my condition directly with me. I understand him anyway, in a way. This fainting was total surprise for me too. Was it really caused by the heat on the head, or by the stress? And Mom warned you about this sort of thing, Anna. You should have listened. She's a wise man. She's a wise woman. I calm Raymond and say goodbye after promise that I will take it easy and won't fall on my way home. I must admit though, it's quite difficult to shake him off. Well, at home again, alone again. Very life-affirming. As soon as I walk into my apartment, I realize that I show up by myself with something. I pick up my bag and start trying to sort through every inside of it. My eyes land on Melissa's diary. Wait, her diary? I try to figure out why I forgot about it again, and why did Raymond never mention it. I cautiously leaf through the page, trying not to dig too deep into the private details of my best friend's life. That will be too painful for me to bear. But he was waking a strong interest in her, which was not to everyone else but Raymond himself. He was mentioned in the diary entry many times. It's weird that she had never discussed it with me. Maybe she felt shy because he's my partner, but on the other hand, I never raised this topic either. The only people mentioned in the diary are Melissa, Raymond, and I. It seems Melissa was very attached to us. As I get close to the last page, the rune starts appearing in text. It was expected, but I flinched with apprehension anyway. They blend with Melissa and Rite so well that I could have skipped them easily if I didn't pay much attention. These runes, what are they doing here? Chaotically put in the random bits of text. I guess that's why we didn't notice that there was something wrong with Melissa. All the wrong bits were here in the diary and in the albums. But I still can't help feeling guilty. After all, I thought that we were friends. Again, I'm here in the darkness, suffocated silence is so complete that it seems to me that I can't hear my heart beating. I'm ready to run away from the whisper again, but nothing is happening this time. Is it a normal dream? I can't really believe it. Besides, I still can't see anything, sensing the walls around me. And if I take a step, it's muffled as before, as if I'm walking on the carpet. Well, nothing has changed, and it brings me some relief. Running into something new is the last thing I would like to happen right now. Not wanting to stay at the same spot, I hesitated to reach out towards the supposed wall and feel the rough text of wallpapers on my fingertips. Now as I feel something solid and reassuring, I start moving through the gloom confidently. My fingers brush against the wall, I can feel it, but hear nothing even so. I keep walking for a while with nothing happening still. Suddenly my hand bumped into something. Judging by touch, it's a door frame. Sure enough, my hand ends up roaming around the door, searching for a doorknob. I can't say that it's important for me to open the door, and most likely see the same sort of darkness, but I don't stay in the corridor either. As soon as I find the doorknob, I press down on it, and the door creaks open. Opposite space behind it's dark, just as expected. Anna? I turned toward the voice without thinking. For a second I thought that is mine? I can't see anything obviously, but a feeling of growing panic takes me over. I freeze motionless. What was that? I'm not just hearing things, right? There's someone here, right? Someone with my voice? For some reason this thought scares me even more. I take a step back, intent to go back to the corridor. Where are you going? The voice sounds right next to my ear. With a shriek I jump aside, lose my balance and hit my back against the opposing wall. The voice, now I'm totally sure that it sounds exactly like mine, chuckles a few meters away from me. It doesn't bode well. Run, I should run. But it feels like I've grown into the floor because of the terror enveloping me. I can hear nothing, no footfall, no shuffling of clothes. But soon enough, cold fingers touch my face, and the mocking and frightening voice sounds right next to me. You can't hide. What the fuck? Now look at the wall. There's runes. What the hell is happening? I wake up with a jolt, shaking with cold and fright. My eyes haven't got used to the darkness. I feels like I'm still in that pitch black dream. This time it was a terrible nightmare. I being realized that my dreams are getting worse and worse, but why I haven't really paid attention to this fact. My mind tries to cling onto something sporadically, and I can finally start to make out the room around me. My breath grows calmer, even though I am still shaking. I look down and see my hands. My fingers are black as if smeared in soot. My blanket is soiled. What's going on? I start looking around as if you would be able to notice something in the gloom, but turning the light on is the last thing I want to do right now. My gaze falls onto the wall across from me. My breath turns fast and shallow. A drop of sweat rolls down my forehead. No. It can't be. I guess my eyes haven't adjusted yet and I'm seeing things. But the longer I look at the wall, the more I realize that I can see my own handwriting and huge black runes. My palm grows sweaty. I throw the blanket aside with shaking fingers and walk toward the wall. Fear makes my stomach churn. I can't find a reasonable explanation. The only thoughts milling around in my brain are these. Both the dreams and the runes really happened, and it's not an accident. And all of it started the day when the fortune teller grabbed me by the arm. Yes, on that day exactly. All of the headaches I explained away by the lack of rest or exhaustion. I guess the other victims didn't notice that something was wrong with them either. But the scariest part is the inability to tell anyone about it. There are constantly some reasons to keep quiet. Something swirls in my mind, unable to form into a proper thought. A new fit of pain makes me clutch at my forehead. Why didn't I pay attention to it before? Why? My thoughts are jumbled. I need fresh air, now. I hastily put outdoor clothes on and run out of my apartment, which now feels dark and ominous to me. I'm running, not seeing the path in front of me, as if my legs have taken over control and are carrying me as far away from my home as possible. I have no idea what time it is. But latterly, it occurs to me that I might not find my way back if I keep running blindly, so I stop, my breath heaving. Frosty air burns my lungs. I'm shaking, unsure if it's being caused by the freezing weather or my fright. I look around. The eye looks somewhat familiar. What I'm supposed to do now? I left my house, but where should I go? To my department? To stay there for the night again? I spend a minute catching my breath. No, that's stupid. Sooner or later I'll have to go back home and, I don't know, tear the wallpaper down? I have no idea how I would wash everything off of it. Oh, seriously? I'm worried about the walls instead of the things I drew on them. Forcing my breath to slow down, I turn around and start walking towards my house. But I notice a weak glint as I take another turn. It only lasts for a second, but it's enough for me to face a dark alley. There! There? But why? My building is in the opposite direction. Silence. Maybe I'm hearing things? I turn around, but then hear it again. No, there! What's wrong with me? How much sense does it make to go to God nowhere? Something tells me that it must be done though. Either that or my sense of self-preservation fails me. At my own risk, I step into the gloom between the buildings, trying to walk as quiet as I can, unsure of what I'm even wary of. The snow crouched tersely under my feet, but I move slowly, looking around me with attention. Suddenly, I hear a hoarse sound and some sort of rustling. Peeking behind the corner, I see something that makes my heart leap to my throat. A man covered in blood is taking his last breaths, and a shape in cloak with a dagger in its hands is standing over him. The figure hides something shiny in a pocket and then raises its head sharply and turns towards me. It's the murderer, the one we are looking for, or at least I hope so. I must capture him, but the problem is that I have no yap on me while he has the dagger, and there may be other surprises in store too. But I can't run away now. When will there be another chance to run into him like this? Damn it, I'll think of something. I rush to the crib and he freezes for some reason while looking at me. It's so dark that I can't make out anything but his cloak. That's bad, I won't be able to recognize him later. It's not important at the moment though. I halt in front of him and swings my foot, aiming for his knee, but he comes to his sense just in time to jump aside nimble. Darn, I'll get you! I lunge at him once more, trying to make him fall on the ground, but he dodged again. For some reason he isn't trying to attack me. He only avoids my blows and very quickly if we take my speed in account. I do my best to maintain the distance and shorten it quickly not to put myself under a probable blow from him, and I even managed to hit him once, but barely since he almost managed to dodge again. I suddenly remember about the patrols on the streets and shout, "Guards! Is anybody here?" The crowd doesn't make a sound. The dagger. He's still holding it. Mayal managed to take it out of his grasp. I short distance between us again, as if going for another swing. He starts dodging. I stop, dive towards his hand, and grab the dagger. He doesn't seem to be upset when he notices the loss. The only thing I see is his hood, bowing to his empty hand and then turning back to me. Cold is tearing at my lungs. Our fight has been going far too long, which is impossible to tell by my opponent. He's breathing as evenly as before. Probably decided that it's time to get on with it. He started advancing to me. I get ready to block his attacks with the dagger in my hands, but he ducks at the very last moment and hits me in the side with his elbow. Unable to keep my balance, I fall, still clutching the dagger, and when I leap back up, the dark shape is gone. Damn it, damn it! I hear a gurgling sound and run to the man on the ground. Surprisingly enough, he's still alive. A thought stuns me. Melissa must have died just like this, slowly, not even hoping that somebody will help her. But I try to cast this thought aside as I lean over the dying man. Hold on, I might be able to stop the bleeding. Guards! What's taking you so long? I press my hand against the wound on his neck, knowing that it's useless. There are too many wounds and all of them are gushing red. A few moments pass and everything is over. The man lets out one more hoarse sound and goes limp with his eyes wide open. But at that time I can finally hear sounds of running feet and clicking metal right on time. I stand up when the guards run into the alley and slowly realize what this scene looks like. My hands and clothes are bloody. I'm holding a dagger and standing over a dead body. Perfect, just perfect. I'm held in custody for a while until further notice. Even though I'm an investigator, the situation is questionable. Put immediately. Not to mention that I was found with the murder apple in my hands. In the end, when dawn starts shimmering through the window, I'm led to Burker's office. He's not there though. Aldrich is sitting in a chair with an air of importance instead. He looks drowsy but pleased. He must be especially glad to see me being escorted by the guards. Charming. What a meeting, Detective Anna. For this occasion I would have gotten out of bed this early once more, if I could. Where is Burkhardt? Why are you occupying his office? I warn you, dear, you won't be able to protect you forever. I don't understand. Oh, really? You were caught standing over the fresh body, am I right? It doesn't prove that I'm a murderer. Yet you were holding the dagger, and the patrolman didn't see anyone else nearby. Are you saying that I killed my... As far as I know, you walked her home on the night of the murder. Not to the door. There is no one to confirm it, though. There are no traces of break-in, so the secretary knew the criminal, and she knew you. Hatred and despair overwhelm me. I do my best to keep myself in check. Plus the murder is a dark mage. How are you going to apply that to me? Aldrich waggles his finger at me smugly. Haha, you are an investigator after all. It's just an assumption. You have no proof of it. How do you explain the runes? The ones drawn at your place or some other kind of runes? I feel the ground flying around at my feet. Damnation. I forgot about those rules. Situation grows more and more nasty. So you think that I chose the victims, drove them into obsession and killed them? The obsession. Are you talking about the junkie no one was looking for and the insane woman? Or the drunkard son? Or that crazy man from the festival? Do you think this reason is convincing? I see that common sense won't be of any use here. Aldrich doesn't want to listen to me at all. He has one purpose, to turn me into a suspect and tear out the department apart. I do my best to remain calm. If I let hunger cloud my mind, he will only find a way to use it to his advantage. So, do you have any other excuse, or you like to present your own version of how you end up near the fresh corpse with dagger in your hands? I'm obligated to answer you. You have no connection to this department, and I have assigned superior. I can see him here though. I can hear noise and irritated voice outside the door. Ha, that must be him. The door suddenly swings open, and Burkhardt rushes in. I never see him so enraged, not at work at least. He glances around the office and gazes towards me, then confidently moves towards his desk. What the hell is going on here, Aldrich? Unperturbed, the man merely takes an envelope out of the inner pocket of his suit and gives it to Burkhardt. Read it over. From this day on, your authority is limited. I will take your place until the situation gets stable. Burkhardt's eyes methodically run over the letter, and his face grows paler and paler with every passing second. At first I asked myself when Aldrich even managed to pull it through, but if I look back at how long I've been sitting in custody and at the eagerness of this buffoon to ruin Becker's life, oh, he definitely did everything to make it happen as soon as possible. Becker throws the envelope on the desk. Do you even realize what you're doing? You have arrested my employee, and on what basis? Weren't you notified? She was caught at the crime scene. Nonsense. You don't have evidence. And you have no authority to give orders here, Burkhardt. And if you dare take any kind of action, I'll make an order of you being led out in handcuffs. I wasn't going to. I just want to look into your eyes and see if there's a hint of anything human in them. Aldrich scoffs. So, did you find it? I think you know the answer to this question. Lead Mr. Becker out of the building and put Miss Anna into the cell. By what right? Aldrich, you are breaking the law. Aldrich ignores him. Follow the orders. Guards grab me by the arms and drag me out of the office. I barely have time to throw a helpless glance at Becker, who looks both confused and outraged. I'm behind bars. It's the first time in my life when I'm on this side of them. I can't wrap my head around everything that's happened. Why did everything turn out so badly? With those goddamn runes too. Aldrich isn't going to sort everything out. He reached his aim and probably achieved much more than he intended. He doesn't care about the victims, and I can bet that he won't let the information become public. Will he blame all the murders on me? But it's nonsense. My head is still acting like crazy, and there are streaks of blood on my hands. I try to rub it off against my clothes, but it only makes my fingers go red and numb. Who was that person? Will I find out anything new? And how necessary is it for me to begin with? I don't think I can could affect anything on that side. I look around. Well, now it's my sanctuary. I didn't want to go back home after all, so now I can sit here. Unless I start drawing runes in my sleep again, that's exactly what I need right now. I lost track of time completely. How many hours have passed? How long will I have to stay here? Lunch was brought not too long ago, so I guess it will be evening soon enough. I made peace with the fact that I'll sit here all alone, but now I suddenly hear footsteps approaching me, and judging by how light they sound, it's not a guard. Oh my god, Aina, what did that lunatic do? I'm both happy and ashamed to see Leo right now. I won't want any of my friends to see me in this state. I was apprehended near a body and, well, you see the rest. That's the last thing I could expect. That Moore must be totally crazy if he thinks that he can accuse a detective of a murder on a whim. I can say that all detectives are innocent, but I'll let Leo get the indignation out of his system. Finally calm, Leo runs his fingers through his hair and turns towards me. Listen, he looks around just in case, even though there are no guards in sight. The new body, do you want to know the details? I do, I'm not sure how it will help me, but anyway. He's half blood as well, there you go. The wounds are identical to previous case, same with magic, and judging by what I saw, he had the blood of a human and winged race. There are scars on his back. Usually that kind of half. That's right, so without them, he looked like a human. I will never guess that he was half-blood if I saw him on the streets. Hey now. You ran into the murder, did I get it right? I will say I'm glad that Leo doesn't believe Aldrich's accusation, even though I know that only a total idiot would have believed them. Either an idiot or someone who doesn't know me at all, and Leo knows me well enough. I did, but ended up causing a lot of problems for myself. What did he look like? I didn't make out much of him. He was all in black, in a cloak, with no distinct features. I didn't even hear his voice. Oops. They passed 2 times in there. It might cause my hand. No, he was only dodging my blows and then dropping me on the ground and escaped. So there's no chance to find him. Leo walks away and ended up all alone until evening. It's weird that Remo hasn't visited me. Maybe he's in trouble as well? I grow really desperate after dinner. How long will I have to sit here? I feel that I'm gradually losing my mind. Becker appears outside my cell late in the evening. He looks exhausted. I pull every sting possible cold. No use. That bastard has been looking for a reason to cause trouble for a long while. I'm afraid it will take a few months to deal with all this mess. Gosh, Aina, I'm so sorry that it affected you. Becker looks vulnerable and lost, but his eyes are still full of burning rage. We'll get you out of here. I don't know how, but we'll find a way. I won't let them hang this case on you. I shake my head. The main thing for us is to catch the killer. I won't hope for that. If I was the head of the department, no new murder would have slipped past me, but now Aldrich is in my place, and he clearly doesn't give a damn. And you won't catch the culprit while you are sitting here. There's something else. I don't like the gloomy tone of his voice. Your partner, Remo? We can't find him. Pressing myself into the corner, I half closed my eyes. It was bad enough that I'm behind bars, now Remo is gone too. Aldrich must be rubbing his hands joyful and slapping new accusations on us, and I can't even defend myself. I should sleep, or at least the truth. I can't shake off the fear of waking up and seeing the walls of the cell covered in runes from the floor to ceiling. At least, while I'm in prison, I won't find anything to draw with, but the anxiety doesn't let me go. Plus, there are those dreams. If everything is only getting worse in reality, what will I see in them? I know that I'll fall asleep sooner or later, but I'll try to postpone this moment for as long as I'm able to. It's darker than usual. The puffs of mist surround the ship sitting on the floor. There's nothing but cold and darkness here, but the stranger isn't perturbed by this fact. I know she's ready, I know. It's not that simple, I can't. I understand all of it. There's no need to remind me. There's still time, everything is fine. Everything is fine. The space gets filled with a whisper. The ritual is nearing its completion. Time is stretching. I can only see the light through the small window between me and the rest of the apartment, and guess the time by the lunch period. Sure enough, I've been drawing runes at night. Well, not really drawing. I have nothing to draw with, but the sight of my fingers speaks for itself. Torn skin and broken nails are a sight to behold. Bear let drop from time to time. The latter, as noticed the state of my fingers, has been bringing me a healing salve. But it doesn't help much since I keep scraping my fingers against the wall every night. On the plus side, my dreams have become chaotic and troubled, but I can't remember them at all. There is no news from Remo. I'm worried about him. What could possibly happen? I'm glad that I'm not totally alone. It's surprised that Aldrich lets people visit me, although he probably sees it as another way to taunt me. No one heard anything about the murder, which only confirms Aldrich's absurd theory about me being the culprit. I can assume that he doesn't truly believe it, but my stumble was too convenient to pass over. If Aldrich publicly announced that I'm the murderer, or if he'll done it already, I can't even imagine how it's going to affect my career. The fact that I'm in jail is a big problem already. All of it will go to my dossier, even if it's not true that I'm eventually acquitted of these accusations. Add me being half blood to the mix, and we'll get some truly breathtaking prospect for career growth. I scoff at my own gloomy joke, although I definitely have no reasons for fun. I doze again, not thinking much about what time it is. Aina! Aina! Psst, rise and shine! Come on, wake up! What? I blink in confusion and leap up to my feet when I see my partner. Momentary joy is replaced with a surprise. He's back? But why is he here in the middle of the night? Remo, I was told that you disappeared. Are you okay? And what are you doing here at this hour? Asking you, obviously. He starts fiddling with the lock immediately. There's no one nearby, so the clicking metal sounds in the basement quite loud. Are you sure it's a good idea? Of course. He pouts as usual, which looks inappropriate in this case. It's obvious that you are not guilty. I can't let stubborn mule accuse of you something new. Do you think he'll let you go? But the escape will make everything even worse. It won't. If we catch the murder, and we will. Dumbfounded, I stare at him, and meanwhile there is a thought buzzing at the back of my mind. Where are the guards? Remo is in anger and yanks at the lock harder. I take a closer look at him and realize that he looks worse than usual. His eyes are flashing feverishly, his skin is pale. Are you alright? I'm fine, great even. You say you will catch the murderer. We will, just let me deal with this stupid lock. Did you find him? You could say that. Does Becker know? He has other issues right now. The lock yields final and the door swings open with a creak. I hesitate standing in open cell. Remo arches an eyebrow in confusion and folds his arms on his chest. I still don't think it's a good idea. Aina, if you stay here, it won't be a good idea either. Aldrich won't let you get out and defend yourself. Do you forget? He doesn't give a damn. You have only one way to justify. But you didn't really explain. There's no time for it. Will you be just standing there doing nothing? I tense, feeling that something is wrong, but what exactly? Besides the fact that we are clearly breaking the law on me. Something is wrong with Remo. Something has been wrong with him for a while, and how did he find the murder, goddammit? You don't believe me? It's hard to give a negative reply to this sort of question, when it's asked by your colleague, your partner, your best friend. But at the same time, I can't feel any confidence. Remo is right though. If I stay here, I will never get out again. I can't count on Becker to fix everything in the near future. I can see no other options. I nod with a tired sigh. Okay, I believe you. My partner smiles, seeing me walking out of the cell. Thoughts are still tearing me apart though, and he notices it. Come on, Aina. Have I let you down? Indeed he hasn't, but he takes me by the elbow and leads me toward the exit out of the basement. I notice the guards lying on the floor as we go. Are they alive? Do you think I killed them? Seriously? They are just unconscious. Sitting in that cell clearly messes you up. But nevertheless, you had the guts to knock them out and let me out, and it's enough to spend a certain time in prison. There is no one else in the department. It must be really late. Another night doing I don't know what, instead of sleeping like a sensible person. This time, for example, I'm breaking the law. What's next? Remo gives me my belongings. Next we go out for a hunt. It's time to catch that guy and end this nightmare. The confidence in his voice makes me hope that everything may actually be fine if I choose to trust him. Here, you can't go empty-handed. My partner gives me a small crossbow. The blade of a knife gleams behind Remo's belt. Usually doesn't have any weapons on him. Where are you going? Just follow me. How did you even find out where the murder is? Remo shrugs with the looks as if the answer is obvious. Okay, interesting. So maybe Remo he belongs to that cult? I tried not to be idle. There was a plenty of time. It's not an answer. Is it that reporter right now? We are quietly walking down an alley. Remo doesn't talk to me anymore, and I'm positive that my questions will remain unanswered. My anxiety grows, and I hear my heart hammering. A barrage of thoughts rush through my mind. Chaotically scattered pieces of puzzle start forming a proper picture. The puzzle with 4 known and 2 unknown elements. Bernard, Fire, Aclea, Water, Melissa, Earth. The new victim, I don't know the name of, must be Air, since Leo told me about the wings. Unknown elements, it's so simple though. If the criminal is Dark Mage and I have the magic of light, I'm not even talking about the things happening to me. Here are 2 missing elements, light and darkness. And Melissa knew the criminal. The world bursts in a flash of pain, everything grows dim. I hear a sound near me and I lunge to the side, but the world bursts in a flash of pain, everything grows dim. I open my eyes and see only oppressing darkness above me. Heavy gets impenetrable. I can't even imagine what's hiding in it. I can't move, it's like I'm frozen stiff. Throughout the deadly tiredness weight down my body, everything has gone numb aside from splitting pain in my head. It's as if my soul drifts farther and farther away from my body with every second. How can it be? My strength swift drains out of my body, giving me no chance to say goodbye to this world properly. My life rushed in front of my eyes in a series of short, dull images. The only thing I remember before I die, the strange shadow that flies towards the unknown silhouette. They get soaked up by its body and devour it. Magic pulses around me, pressing on my temples with intolerable pain, but I know that everything will be over soon. And finally, the consciousness leaves me, throwing me into depths of eternal darkness. My ending was the failure. Huh. Interesting. So I got the bad ending. That was we simple die. We were killed because of that image that the person, that kid that work on the studio. We took that paper that showed like 4 elements and 2 unknown. So and those 2 unknown was darkness and light. That was us. We had the magic of light, like that guy says. So how you could change? Because I didn't have a lot of choice in there, right? I didn't have a lot of choice. So what I could change in there to have a different ending, because I think having the paper is the best one to have like that. Later you're gonna understand what that person meaning. That was like the 4 elements, that is easy to understand, and then the 2 unknown that they were talking, that our character understands that was light and darkness. But those are like, who killed us? Was Remo, because we were with him, right? So the only way to us to die needed to be Remo. But why he killed us? Was because we are half blood and we have that like that rare element, right? That is the light, that nobody has that element. Could it be because of that? But at the same time, what kind of choice could be different? Like on that festival, the celebration, the winter celebration, right? I went alone, right? And then Leo appears, and we go to all stalls, and we see that fortune teller that then he touches. So if instead of choosing going alone, if we could go with Berker or Remo, will that change? everything, and instead of going to those stalls, we wouldn't know that we have the magic of light, and that will change. Like, it's weird because doesn't explain why who killed us, because we are like knocked out, right? So if it's him, why he killed us? There is no like that explanation. Like we could have the explanation say that he belonged to that dark that cult. It's better to say like that. It's like randomly, and it's like hard to know what are the good choice, because I thought I was doing the best choice. That like Perkar say to split, right, and everyone had to go alone. So like it's a good game. It's a good game. Like the artwork is very good, and I like it. The story is easy to understand. Like it's like we are on a place that is not very good. There is people that are half blood and purebred, like us. We are half blood of human with elf. Melissa, it was human with a cat, and Reim was a purebred of cats. At the same time, we explain that half blood doesn't know how to use magic, and purebred know how to use magic. Like Reim could sense and hear things, but then, like our character was saying, that we could like why Reim wasn't seeing anything, why he was trying to avoid everything, like say that he could sense something. That immediately was strange. But one thing that I will say is like, yes, the game has 8 endings, but in terms of longevity is long. Like to try another different endings, you need to go again and do a lot of skip, and then change a little bit of your choice, and then continue reading, and it will be different. But in terms of longevity, is long, and it's one thing that I like. I always say in every visual novel, if you put different endings, right, multiple endings, put between 2 to 4 hours in terms of longevity, like that the player will try and do different endings. Because if you put more than 2 to 4 hours with multiple endings, the player will get kind of tired, right? It won't see then the other endings. Because at the same time, I have to say it's not gonna be easy to find like the perfect ending, right? It's not gonna be easy because you need to know what are the perfect choice to do it, of course. But in terms of longevity is what I always criticize when games put multiple endings and it's long, because the player gets a little bit tired of seeing a lot, and then knows that he needs to remember the choice that he did and try to remember and then okay, I choose this, now I need to select the other. So what I will say, like every visual novel that put multiple endings, 2 to 4 hours in terms of longevity, that will help the player then try a new game to do a different choice. But overall the story is good, but in this ending that I had, I didn't understood who was from that cult, like who killed us, right? It's better to say like that. I think it was Reim, but why is the reason that Reim was on that cult, right? There is no that answer in there. I understand that they don't want to give you that answer because it was the failure ending. Maybe getting the perfect ending or the other ends, you get the answer, but at the same time it's like, who is behind that cult? Is Reim that's behind that cult because we were with him? That's kind of like weird to understand. But overall, like you can see in here that the gallery that you have, you can see that I need to unlock. In here I miss a lot. Okay. 2 in here. Holy shit, in here I missed everything. And on the 5th there is one that I missed. So I didn't unlock a lot of these CGs. It's better to say like that, because it's when they show their best artwork, right? Like the characters are good. Everyone has a good backstory. In terms of this artwork, very good. When they show images like this, they are very, very good. I like this one. This one is very amazing, like how it is, like very good. It's very good in terms of artwork, like CGs, very good. In the end, I got the first one that was the failure, so maybe the perfect ending is the 8th, but it's not gonna be easy because you need to remember all the choice that you did. Then of course you can skip the conversation, that's a good thing, but the problem is when you choose different paths, you're gonna need to read that because it's a different path that you are taking. That's what I'm criticizing of having the longevity too big. But overall, the story is cool because you understand. It's not that that you get what the fuck is happening in here and there. No, you understand immediately what's happening. You understand immediately. For me, it was only in the end that I don't understand why Hable killed us or knocked us out. That's the only thing because it's the ending that I got. But overall, a good game. So, if you are a big fan of visual novels, I will recommend to buy Rite. It's already available on Steam. It's 5.25 euros that costs, so very cheap for what it gives you. In terms of longevity, I don't know how many hours it is, but in terms of multiple endings, a lot and a lot of CGs to unlock. So a lot of runs that you can try to unlock everything. If you are not a big fan of visual novels and you want to try out new ones, I will say go to Steam and try out Rite because I think you're gonna enjoy the story. You start slow with the story, but then starts to catch up, right? That part that we see that someone is killing, so catch up. Then it slows a little bit when Aldrich appeared, because you start to see that someone that's trying to take out the half-bloods, they don't like the half-bloods, and then it catches up again because you go like me, I got to the prison, right? So it catches up then the story. It has that slow and fast, so it's like that. So, like I said, it's a good game. It's a good game. Good story, good artwork. It's a shame that longevity is so long to try different endings, but overall, I like it. It's what I was expecting. So, hope you guys enjoy the playthrough of Rite. Again, if you want to give it a try, you can already buy it on Steam. 5.25 euro, 5.25 euros, so very cheap for what it offers. In terms of dollars, I don't know how it costs because it's different always, but very cheap for what the game offers, and the story is very good. So hope you guys enjoyed the playthrough on Rite, and see you guys next time. Bye.